How you're saying horizontals don't slope on a globe though? Like, do horizontals slope on a globe? Yes or no?
Yeah, horizontal plane will show slope on a globe relative to level. Yep.
All right,
So the
horizontal slope on a globe. All right, I've had
yeah
a hard time with globers trying to get them to
yeah. So a
like
horizontal
a lot of
plane is not
glober
constant elevation.
a lot of globers won't admit that, Dazza, for some reason.
Yeah, well, it depends on the terms that you're using, right? So a lot of people will talk about horizontal as moving horizontally, which is another thing you've got to be careful how you define. But a horizontal plane on a globe is not constant elevation. So it has slope from the point of view of constant elevation, but geometrically it has no slope compared to its perpendicular, if that makes sense.
So let's try this once again now with the arm, okay? So the arm has a slope in it, right?
Yes, it has a gravitational slope. One end is higher than the other. Yep.
Okay, so now listen up, Jeremy. Don't make the same mistake 4 times now, okay?
All right, I'm listening. I'm listening.
Take the wax out your ears and listen, right? So he just said that the arm has a slope and one end is higher than the other. Now, listen to the question I'm going to ask him. If you put the water in at the end that's higher than the other end, would the water flow, and what direction would the water flow in?
Yeah, so if you put it at the end with the highest elevation, it will flow to the end with the lowest elevation.
Right on. Is that clear, Jeremy?
I mean, it works the same way on a globe. Like water will just always flow to the lowest elevation point on flat Earth or a globe.
So you don't get it either. The arm in LIGO is not, one end is not higher than the other. Do you understand that?
I thought it was in the middle. I know. I thought the low point was in the middle. I don't know.
No, the
Yeah,
whole
I
thing
think it
is
is
that
flow in
arm
general.
has to be perfectly level, perfectly horizontal, perfectly straight for it to work. There is
No,
no
it just has to be
slope.
straight. It just has to
There's
be
no
straight.
slope on that arm.
It has to be straight.
Straight, yes. What does straight mean? Does it mean sloping?
It means
Does it
geometrically
mean
straight.
curving?
It means geometrically straight.
Straight. There's no curve in it at all, right?
That's right. The path of light in a vacuum will be straight.
Okay,
And the
so
tube
there's
has
no
to follow that.
curving, there's no sloping. It's a
You can
perfectly
have you can
straight
have
horizontal arm.
even on a flat Earth, you can have a slope in a straight tube, right? Do you agree on that?
On a flat surface, you can have a
No,
slope.
on a flat Earth, you can have a slope in a tube that is also perfectly straight.
I'm not sure I understand what you're saying.
If you have a tube on a flat Earth, can you arrange it so, and it's perfectly straight, can you arrange the tube so it has a slope and still
Yeah,
be
we
perfect?
went through it before. You raise one end,
Yeah,
obviously,
okay. And what does raising one end mean?
that there's a slope.
You increase its elevation, right?
Yeah, obviously,
Yeah,
from
yeah,
one
yeah.
end to the
So
other.
you increase it to a point where it's got more energy. Now, on a globe, that raising can also happen due to curvature because the curve of the Earth and vertical means that you have that same geometric slope compared to level that you get if you raise one end up on a flat Earth. But the important thing is that the level line is curved and not straight. If you were to work out the elevation profile of a straight tube against a flat Earth with a slope, the elevation would be constant, be linear. It would be a straight line. But on a globe, the elevation is curved, and that's measurable. Anyway, I've got
So
to
a
go.
level line to you is curved. You just want to get away with the not possible. And again,
Level
you're
line is curved.
assuming.
That's correct.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay. If that's what you think, if you think level is curved, I can't help you. buddy. I
It's
mean,
measurably so. And this is the whole LIGO discussion, right? Because LIGO measures both. It measures the straightness of the tube and it measures level. And we get a clean and clear curvature of level compared to straight.
now I believe I just showed the opposite, and the
You
people
didn't show
listening
anything. You
could.
described something. We can dig up this data on LIGO if you want to see it again. But I know you've seen it.
Yeah, of course I've seen the data. According to them, according to the as build, right?
Yep.
They show a perfectly straight tube, level and horizontal,
No,
and the
you're
earth
making that up.
underneath is curving. Yes, it's exactly what they show.
They show a perfectly straight tube whose elevation profile is curved.
Sure, man. You keep thinking that. It's impossible. That arm cannot be curved. If that arm
The
was
arm is
curved,
not
it would
curved.
not
I give
function.
up. You're a waste of skin sometimes, I tell you.
No, you're the one. If you want to ad hom, you want to quit because you know you're wrong. I mean, that's up to you, but you can't have it both ways. You can't make level curved. You can't make horizontal slope without flow. You can try, but you ain't gonna get away with it with me. So whatever, man. You think what you want. Did he leave? Holy schmazolies. Look, words have definitions. Words have meaning. Level means something. Horizontal means something. Sloped means something. And flow means something. You can't change those things. Sorry. And Jared and me admitted horizontal slopes on a globe. I don't know, bro. I don't know. You're starting to sound like a baller. Who here thinks that horizontal slopes on a globe or anything? How can horizontal slope? By definition, horizontal does not slope. This is troubling to me that Jeremy doesn't understand this. It's really troubling to me. And he claims to be top 5 flat earther, by the way. I'm demoting you, Jeremy. You're going down, bro. Maybe you're maybe you move down to 50 something after tonight.
Well, I mean, even with LIGO, they claim that's like the straightest tube in the world, kind of thing. Um, have they ever put water in it?
Of course not. Are you kidding?
Yeah, because we don't need to do that. You're insisting that need be done, but there, the 3 column water level is just fine. The Bedford levels, as demonstrated by Wallace, is just fine. The lake that Jesse from Path of Light photographed is just fine. So, but if you have to have water, which given the viscosity of water and the shallowness of the grade from tangent straight on out, water was not going to have a lot of, inclination to flow because of the viscosity of the water. But yes, there is potential for it to roll toward the point of tangency.
Well, surely you can scale this down, right?
Well, if we're on Earth,
What?
it'd be hard to scale it down below the radius of Earth.
What? You just said it would happen at LIGO.
Well, yeah, except we're still dealing with the minor slope and the viscosity of water.
No, I think you know. I think you know I'm right, and you're just fighting it. You're fighting for the model. Like it's okay, man. You can admit that parts of it is wrong. Still
We
not gonna.
know that it's okay to admit that we're wrong. However, we sincerely believe this. We have it internally consistent within our minds. So don't say that we don't believe it, because we do.
Okay, no, I know you believe it, right? But I'm saying that you know you can't demonstrate it, right? Like you can't scale this down. Like it's easy to get like a 400-meter tube, for example, right? So you're saying in your mind you have it. If you take a 400-meter tube and you make it like in a plane, like you make it horizontal, no, not one end higher than the other, you think that the water will pool to the center. Is that what you think? Don't let me straw man you. Is that what you think? Obviously, because that's what you said with the thing that Geo.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's not.
yes. In
400
fact,
meters isn't very much, though.
but in fact, if you were to take like a channel, like roof gutter, make it 400 meters long, level horizontal tangent at the middle, and fill it with water, the water would be deeper in the middle than at the ends. Yes.
You think it would
So
like
there you
pool
go.
on
We got an experiment. We got a test. We
Yes.
heard it.
Yes. But go ahead. Go ahead. Fund it.
Here's the
It would,
thing:
like-
if
Want me
you're
to
making
fund it?
400-meter pipe, you can't be off by more than half an inch at the end of 400 meters. And it's going to be
That's
hard to
not hard.
find somebody who can do that
That's not hard.
accurately.
No, that's
Isn't it?
easy.
I'll
Just-
contribute to the funds. I mean, we finally
Yeah,
found
this
something
is right up
after
there
all
with
these
Brian
years.
Mullins. Right up there with Brian Mullins, Force the Line, which Lego exactly is.
or you think
400,
you could get it within a half an inch? You're saying?
400 meter,
Oh, yeah.
400 meter, it's 3.1 millimeter of lower elevation in the middle than the extremity if the tube is tangent at the middle. 3.1 millimeter
Right,
for 400 meter. 400 meter.
yeah, I'm saying
Do you
that
think
the
it'll be
neighborhood
lower
plumber
if it's
can't do
tangent in
that.
the
But
middle? You hear what
Water
they're
would be-
saying, man. You hear how
The
they're
water would
thinking.
be the water would be deeper at the middle, but only a couple of millimeters. So yeah, you'd have to be on your game. It'd have to be well supported, very carefully, very expensively fabricated. Yeah.
What do you mean deeper? You said it would pool to the center
That
at
would
the
make it
tangent.
deeper.
Did you not say that?
Yeah, it would make it deeper at the center, meaning the water is pooling towards the center where the water is deeper at the center than the ends.
So what we would have is water full at the center, and it would go away from the edges, right?
It
There
would
would
be
be an
lower.
empty spot on either side, right?
The water
That was
depth.
when they're gonna start double speaking. Like
The
I'm
water
sorry to say it
depth-
that way, man, but
No,
Can I say
said it.
something?
I thought I said it quite clearly. The water depth at the ends would be shallower than in the middle. The water at the middle would be deeper by those few millimeters.
I think you're wrong. Can I point
he's
something out?
absolutely wrong.
Can I point something out?
Yeah, of
If you
course.
put if you put the tangent on the globe and the tangent went out to infinity, the gravity would be the greatest at the point where the tangent touches the Earth, and you'd use the inverse square law. So the further out you go on the tangent line, the water would become way less. So the water in the center would weigh more. It would flow and equalize out over the whole tangent line.
Well,
yeah, but
the
how long
inverse.
are you talking about?
No, the inverse square law would be the distance from the center
Yeah.
of the Earth. So
That's right.
at the end of the point of tangency, and the water, if again we're having a channel and it's filled with water, and the water is
Yeah, but
deeper and the point of tangency is in the middle, then the
Yep.
surface of the water is at equipotential.
Yeah, but it's going to weigh more.
No, it's at
The fir-
equipotential. It weighs the same.
Yeah, but the gravity is less
Why?
because it's further away
From what?
from the center.
Of the Earth?
Yeah.
Yes, but
Well,
not by much.
that's why I said if you fill it to where
No,
it's
hypothetically, if you ran the tangent out to infinity, the
we said
gravity.
400 meters.
I'm not talking about 400 meters. I'm just talking about if you ran it out to infinity, it would be less. So the water would weigh more at the center and it would flow away from the center. It would equalize out.
Right, and the water that would be 60,000 kilometers away would be in orbit. Would
That's
be
right.
functionally weightless.
That's right.
I,
So the water
I,
would actually flow away from the center and equalize out because think about it.
Doc, you have a misconception. It is heavier because it is closer to the center of Earth. It has no way. It's already pulled. That's what makes its weight. So if you go,
Yeah,
as you said, if you go further, as you said, the water weight less. But because she weight less, she cannot displace the water who weight more. I mean, it is denser. Well, not denser is not the good word, but it weight more at the tangent point and will go away. But it will not make it flow outward.
Yeah, but he's saying it will go higher in the center than at the ends. In other words, it'll flow from the ends to the middle. But the water weighs more, so it's going to push itself away from the center because it weighs less out further.
The surface of the water in the channel would be at equipotential. So the specific gravity of the water at the surface of that entire length of, again, the channel that Montreal was talking about, hundreds of meters. I'm not talking about going out, past the moon. You are.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't. That's not worth discussing.
Yeah, but this is all hypothetical, like if it.
And the water in a channel, like the Taylor tow tank, is not hypothetical. And the water and the Taylor tow tank is very, very carefully constructed so that the instrument package that goes on the rails are described as being concentric to the still body of water, which is the radius of the Earth, and they describe it. So it says that, oh, have you ever measured the 8 inches? Yeah, in that environment, it's been very, very carefully to the millimeter for the rails to be concentric with the surface of the water in this 2,000-foot long channel. The equipotential surface of the water is the radius of the geoid.
Yeah. If you poured the water at the end of the tangent, there's less gravity. So how is it going to pull it towards the center?
When you say the end of the tangent, are you still on your infinity out there past the moon?
Well, it's all proportional, isn't it?
It's proportional to the distance from the center of the Earth.
That's
Not
right.
from the point of not from the point of tangency. So at the point of tangency, if you're only several hundred meters either way, you are a minuscule increase in distance to the center of the Earth. So you want to deal with the inverse square law? Yeah. 3,960.0001 miles or 3,960.0002 miles. Do that math. It's not significant reduction in gravitation in the troposphere of the Earth.
You're saying the reduction of what that would be, like even in theory, if the tube was going off and it was, the kind of quote unquote shooting out into space, even if it was, a mile above the ground at some point or a half mile or even 3 miles, you're saying that the difference of gravity very differential between right at sea level versus that bit of elevation is not enough to overpower the general gravitational vector of pulling towards the center of the sphere in which the water would pool to the point of tangency?
Yeah, there's if you look at the acceleration of gravity along and only change your elevation several feet or tens of feet, the acceleration of gravity is unchanged at human scale. I mean, you have to have super high accuracy instruments to detect elevation change by acceleration of gravity. Now, you go up to something like Mount Everest, yeah, the acceleration of gravity there is measurably different.
Even at the height of the ISS, it's still 90% what it is at sea level.
Yeah, it's so there again, 200 miles above the surface of the Earth, or another what 3,962 mile radius from the center of the Earth, or whatever the number, 4,100 miles. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it is like 85 or 90%, and you get out there at orbital velocities like GPS or geostationary. Yeah, it's still a significant fraction of what we experience on the surface. Not until you get to the L2 Lagrange point, or the Earth Moon Lagrange point, which is like 3/4 of the way to the moon. And if you're not between Earth and Moon, there is no Earth Moon Lagrange point. So yeah, it just gets less and less and less. But you get pretty fucking far out there, and you could still fall back to the Earth.
How did we end up on the moon all of a sudden? From a pipe to the moon?
Well, he pushed the tangent out to infinity, as opposed
They
to
want to get
400
us
meters.
far away from the last argument, as far as the moon, perhaps.
Yeah. It seems to me
No,
we
I
have.
understand. Go ahead, sorry. Well, I was
go
just
ahead.
gonna say, well, just real quick, I understand the general thing though of what Shoebill is saying. Like what Doc is saying, I understand what he's saying too. That if you were to go further and further out from the globe, the gravity would be less and less. Therefore, that should affect it. But I don't know what a perfect analogy would be. But I'm thinking if you were like going down the road at 60 miles an hour, and somebody, or there's like a very mild gust of wind, it's really not going to change your 60-mile-an-hour path. Very minimally, it might vary in a tiny amount, but the fact you're going 60 miles an hour is the main thing. So I think in a nutshell, they're saying like with this tube, the water would pool to the center, even though technically the gravity is getting less and less as you go out. That is like in the analogy equivalent to a little gust of wind. Like it's a minor difference
and even if
compared to
gravity,
the overall vector of the gravity thing that they're claiming. Go ahead.
Even with a reduction in gravity, the direction remains the same. So if you're out there at some ridiculous radius to Earth, the gravitation is still going to pull you to Earth.
So the water would generally pool towards the center, and then if the tube was just infinite, at some point, the water would just break off and just disperse out into space. Like it wouldn't even pull at all. So it would just be slowly pulling towards the center until it just got to a point where it just detached entirely, and just the water from there on just floats out.
Well, where it might start falling towards Jupiter.
There you go. Bring that in, Essie. Bring that in, Essie. A level of a coplanar tube ends up flowing to Jupiter. Bring that.
Unbelievable! What a night.
If it was long enough. But take for instance again the Taylor tow tank. The Taylor tow tank. The water is the equipotential surface, radius of the Earth. The instrument package, the roll on the rails alongside, is concentric to that body of water. And if you were to pull a cord from end to end, you'd have a sagitta, which means the water is higher at the middle or above that cord. Now, you want to call that higher? I don't. It's the same. It's the same elevation at the beginning. The water is the same elevation at the beginning, the middle, and the end. But the cord is below the water surface. So if you had your channel or this cord line subtended from the endpoints, It's below. Now, if you raise that chord to be tangent at the midpoint of the tow tank, then yeah, water is. If you put water on that tangent, which is now above the water, it's going to flow towards the point of tangency.
Like it's flowing in the tank? Is water flowing in the tank?
No, the water is not flowing in the tank. I was talking about a chord line above the water or at the ends, which is tangent at the middle, or the chord line is subtended by the endpoints. Yeah,
And let me ask you, in the tank, does the water pool to the center? Like if you were to
No.
look at the edge, like if you were to look at the center by your what you're saying now, right? The water in that tank should be a little bit higher at the center than it is on either end, correct?
We're gonna have to define the word higher because the word higher implies elevation and it's a constant elevation. At no point anywhere along the surface of that water is the elevation any different. So there is no point higher, much like the definition, no point higher than another on the surface of the equipotential water. It's an arc,
An arc.
the radius of the earth.
But
And
if you
in the tube, it wouldn't be one point would be higher than the other, which you said it would before.
I'm
Now
not
you're saying no.
clear. I'm not clear on the diameter of this tube. So that's why I said a channel, like a piece of gutter.
It's like
Yeah.
you're like changing things as you go, bro. Because I think you know that what you're saying cannot be true.
Yo, what? I'm sorry, I must have missed. What is this cord? It's a physical cord. What is it, Shubil?
Well, you could make a physical cord.
No, for the tow tank experiment.
Well, they did not use a cord. They used the surface of the water and they constructed the rails to be concentric with that surface. And they quite specifically call out not flat, but the arc of the radius of the earth. And that is at the highest level of engineering and science we can muster.
So how long is this pool?
About 2,300 feet, I think.
Oh, geez. So, man, you got to be in the middle to really get the distinction, right? You got to be in the middle.
Well, you don't have to be in the middle, but you can be in the middle. But yeah, you have to use very, very high quality instrumentation. Yes.
So, do you have an actual horizontal to know that it's curving?
Horizontal is
100 foot
established
long
by
horizontal, right?
yeah. Well, yeah, you could say a horizontal established by a high precision geodetic survey level. Yeah, you put it in the middle, and you're 5.000 feet above the water at both endpoints. That tangent, that horizontal, that's only horizontal at the middle, will be greater than 5 feet at each end by
Wait
a
a
little
second.
bit.
All right, now it's getting kind of sticky. Okay, so these segments being created by each point?
I don't know what that means.
Is it all relative to the same horizontal?
No, it's all relative to the surface of the equipotential surface of the water.
No, I'm talking
Horizontal, Jesse. Horizontal to them is at one point.
like, yeah. How come you're not running
As
into
crazy
curvature
as
with
that sounds.
your levels?
Ask him. You'll see. Ask him. Is it horizontal all the way along the pool?
Horizontal only occurs at the point of tangency.
You hear that? So I mean, you can't have a conversation with a person like that.
Yeah. So the question is, like, okay, how many points along this pool, this 2,300 foot pool? How many points are there? These, like, you got what'd you say it was? Sorry.
2,300 feet. You could make 2,300 points of tangency.
Yeah, but what's the device?
Well, you could use a high order geodetic survey level. I put up a diagram at 6 minutes after.
The point is, are they just having fun plugging in the calculation? Like, look, like all these laser levels are bending at, that rate, that radius,
No.
perfectly.
Laser
Is that really
levels
the
are
truth?
not.
Are all the laser levels really showing like the plumb lines, like reflecting that radius? Like, is that true?
No, laser levels. The laser light is it's a straight line, give or take for refraction, but close enough. We'll call laser light a straight line, and it's tangent at the instrument. It does not.
So
It
it's
does
using
not.
the laser level. So it's just shooting. It's just shooting laser based on plumb, and it's just like perpendicular to plumb. So there's like a what? Like a accelerometer?
Generally, there's a pendulum system internal using invar wires, so that plumb vertical is established at one point, and the laser light is orthogonal to the vector.
All right. So then to know that every laser light is truly like along the same horizontal, right? So these laser lights are not following the curve of the earth, right?
Correct.
This is how you're establishing a horizontal reference to know that you're curving, that your water's curving, right? This is how you have a horizontal. Right?
Yeah, and you pick up the instrument and move. You have a horizontal, which is unique to that instrument location.
So let's get this straight. So each one has a pendulum, right? So each plumb line at every point along this 2,300 foot pool, you're saying that it's creating horizontal because all those plumb lines are perpendicular to a horizontal plane, right?
No, well,
Yes.
vertical is radial to the surface of the water. So if you put your instrument at point A, you have a vertical at that point, and you have an orthogonal, which we're calling horizontal, at that point. Any other point along the water surface, you have the plumb, which is vertical, which is radial to the water surface, and an orthogonal line, which is horizontal. And the horizontal at point B is not parallel to the horizontal at point A.
How do you know that?
Vertical.
How do you know that your
vertical.
horizontal is bending?
No. There's the two independent, unique lines.
If it's bending at the rate of the water, then what's your true reference to horizontal? Where is it? If it's not the GPS system that you're talking about. Dude, you just said that the GPS system's bending.
I didn't use the word GPS, did I?
Well, sorry. Well, you said something. I'm sorry.
Geodetic level.
Yes, that one. Sorry. So it's bending.
No, didn't say bending.
Well, yeah, you're saying all the plumb lines are actually not creating a horizontal. They're not all perpendicular to the same horizontal plane.
Correct, because a vertical line is radial.
All right, so where's your horizontal? How do you know that the surface of water is curving in relation to a horizontal plane?
Through a series of measurements, very carefully made measurements, from horizontal at point A to point B, you see departure from the horizontal at A. You see that departure from that tangent to the instrument at B.
Like, how many are there in this tow tank? Is there an
As many
actual
as you
number?
as many as you want.
But like, is there an actual number of these like points of reference along this like 2,300 foot pool?
I do believe they used many because the rail lengths were built in 100-foot lengths. So yeah, there could be
I'm presuming
23.
you know everything about this. I'm sorry.
Did they also take into account the gravitational variation?
Yeah,
Oh
and
no, we
in
just
that,
still don't have a horizontal. Like even this
in
thing can't make horizontal. So much precision, and it still bends.
well,
Well, thank you, Shubil.
here's a
I'm
page.
actually really grateful.
Here's a page from the document, and I'll post the document.
Yeah, I'm actually. Yeah, I would like to read it. If it's the same yellow page document that Drink the Kool-Aid gave me years ago, then yeah, I know about this tow tank. Same thing. Yep, I've read this.
Well, I'm going to go with the National Engineering Laboratory, the Center for
Pure
Manufacturing
conjecture.
Engineering and Precision Division, and the Bureau of Standards, because there's no higher effort that can be put forth.
We're making a horizontal with your geodetic leveling, and it's just like from this segment right here is bending. We have to adjust to make it a horizontal, and then across the 2,300-foot pool, you say, well, we adjusted to make the horizontal, but it still ended up bending.
That was kind of a gibberish statement. There's no response to that.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be gibber, but really that's what you're saying. You
No,
didn't make
really,
a horizontal. Your horizontal bent. You tried to make a horizontal between 2 points, and it was bending. So throughout the whole thing, it's really not a horizontal, and you don't have a horizontal. But yeah, I'm actually really grateful for you, Shubil. Thanks for explaining that.
What's up, guys?
I like this topic of the tow tank because the first time I came across it, I was like, wow, this paper stinks. And here it is right in front of me again, like, wow, this paper still stinks. Shubil, your stuff is better than this. You don't even got to bother with other people's stuff, dude. Shubil, your stuff is A+. You got the A+ content. You got the A+ measurements, the A+ data. You don't got to reference any of these old guys.
Went back to the that he was saying that there were nothing older than the Septuagint.
Yeah, the Septuagint is the oldest complete edition, but they do have fragments, and the oldest fragment is on a silver scroll, they say, hundreds of years before the Dead Sea Scrolls.
It's so wild how people have such a wide range of like viewpoints. Some people think the globe is like the ultimate truth, that it's the truth of the world and that God created it. Some people think it's a planar flat earth that God created. Some people think that the globe is the thing, but that God, there's no God. There's no creation at all. It's just atheistic. Some people think Christianity is a complete New World Order deception. Other people think it's like the ultimate truth that is, sent from the highest. It's just wild how like polarized just all these views are.
Yeah, and I agree. I think there's something to that, but it's probably division. I try not to divide people. I really do try to always be kind. If y'all listen to me, I'll have some rhetoric. Somebody can call me a dumbass. I'm not going to get offended. But at the same time, you do need to understand, there's guys out there like me who have researched this literally their entire lives because I had a feeling I was right from a young age, and I just started researching, and now I've compiled for the last 4 years all of this research, and it's in the world's largest mind map with 11 million connections. It's like a third the size of Wikipedia right now. It's huge. And I've done it alone. And I was going to read you a couple of book references for this is the Greek creation of Judaism. Okay, there's one called, and if y'all want, just go back and listen on the video on Rumble or whatever. So the Aphrodite and the Rabbis, these are all books. If you read them, they talk about Greek creation of Judaism. Argonauts of the Desert, Structural Analysis of the Hebrew Bible, Berosus and Genesis, Manetho and Exodus, Hellenistic Histories. This is another one, Did Moses Speak Attic? Lester L. Greb, From Plato to Moses, Genesis to Kings as a Platonic epic. This guy, so he's saying, it's like a Plato epic because Plato wrote in the New Republic about how to create a religion, and that's basically what happened right after when the Bible came about. So there's another one called Hebrew is Greek, which that's more based on the language, but ton to do with the Bible because it's using biblical Hebrew. Plato and the Creation of the Hebrew Bible, Russell E. Merkin. Plato's Timaeus and the Biblical Creation Accounts. That's another Russell E. Merkin. The Advent of Dionysus, which references basically how Dionysus ties into the Old Testament. The Bible and Hellenism, the Bible Unearthed, the Invention of the Land of Israel, the Origins of Judaism, and finally the last one I have under, and there's more, but these are the main ones I have in this category, When God Spoke Greek. That's the last book. So you can look up any one of those. I can share them if someone wants a copy or of one of them specifically. I'm not going to share all of them because I definitely don't want to get in trouble. But I've read through these. I've read through, and I haven't read 100% of every single one, but I extract the information. I put it into my mind map. I go back, I read it, and come back. I just keep going back and forth. And the thing that I've seen is that there's literal. If you're an archaeologist, you want proof, right? There's zero proof that there was something being practiced before the Greeks came along. It wasn't like Hebrew. We're not 6,000-year-old religion that came from Adam and Eve. That's a story that they told. And just like Alpha and Omega, right? Like Alpha and Omega, that's the term that we use. That the reason that they use that and it works in so many different parts of the Bible is because those are Greek letters. They're not. It doesn't work in Hebrew. And I'm not trying to be rude. Again, there's other explanations. You can go watch Amon Hillman, any one of his videos he's done with Danny Jones. He covers a lot of stuff. And that's a guy I don't really like because he's a little cringe, but he knows more than anyone. He'll go into it and he'll give you a source, and you go look at it and you're like, holy shit, the guy's fucking right. And there's all kinds of evil shit that was in Christianity from the very beginning. And like I was going to say, what does the Old Testament tell us? It says, make the world a footstool of Israel. And what does that mean? It means Israel's going to put their feet up on our back, basically, right? Like that. That's what the plan was from the very beginning. And Paul even tells us he never met Jesus. He got caught up into the third heaven. All those things.
Let's pump the brakes a little bit. What evil shit is in the Bible?
What do you mean? What evil shit? There's plenty of evil shit in the Bible. Like God telling one of his followers to kill a son, or otherwise he's not a follower anymore. That's kind of evil, right? Right? No question on that one, I guess.
I guess in some respects, right? You're right.
That's evil, man. The people wrote in.
But at some respects, there's a level of faith, I guess, that is to be proven through that. Look, could you be more specific?
I'll get specific with you right now. The Elephantine Islands, there was a group of Jews that left about right after the period of the first temple destruction. They went down. The Bible says this, by the way. So all you Christians, this is in your biblical history, and we know it happened archaeologically speaking because we found the evidence. They left Jerusalem and they went down to Ethiopia. They settled on an island called Elephantine Island on the Nile River in the center of the Nile, far south, down by like the Nubian region. And in those texts that we got, they don't mention Moses. They don't mention Cain and Abel. They don't mention Abraham and all that. They don't mention any of that. It's just Yahweh basically. So we know it wasn't 6,000 years. If anything, it was like 400 to 500 years BC max that we start seeing Levitical laws and stuff. And that's max. I would say 200 BC is when you really see it. The first time it pops up.
I'm just trying to focus on what you believe is evil within the Christian text.
I mean, there's a ton. I mean, there's a ton, right? Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but like the fact that like Sodom and Gomorrah, they're completely wiped out. And there's like babies in there and shit, right? Like, what about the flood, the global flood? Same thing. There's right. Babies. There's innocent beings that absolutely were killed. If there was a global deluge.
So just to go on the idea, right? So if there is an evil that is within the world that is, the father and the mother and stuff like that, and they're ruling over these children and stuff, obviously they're going to raise them to be within their ways. And so, like, I'm not justifying.
It's not true. That's genocidal thoughts that you're having right there. That's like what Hitler said.
Well, I mean, if they have these beliefs or these ideologies that they do not feel are problematic and stuff, why wouldn't they teach them to their children?
But my thing is, so do you deserve for not being the chosen people to be wiped off the face of the planet?
Well, what do you define as the chosen people?
I mean, your book tells you, brother. What does it say?
Well, I'm asking you.
It's Jews. Jews are the chosen people. Salvation comes from the Jews. Salvation comes from the Jews. That's what it says.
So I'm in a different kind of school of thought in terms of the Bible and stuff.
That's a verse. I'm quoting verse. I'm quoting verse at you. You can't say you're in a different school of thought. There's no other interpretation of that.
I'm talking about Jesus died for all of our sins and stuff like that. And
right, yeah, that's Jew and Gentile alike, right?
It's not exclusive to the Jews being like the ultimate like overseers of all of us.
So that's what you think, but what does it say, right? So we were talking about this last night. He has the Canaanite woman who comes up to him, and she basically says, please, can you help me, whatever? And he's like, well, why? He said, well, she says, even the dogs catch scraps from the children's table. And he said, for this you are blessed. And he blesses her, and he gives her what she needs, and she goes on her way. But what does that mean? Well, they're calling the Gentiles, the people less than Israel, the dogs, and that you're catching the blessing because you are following their Lord, right? That's the whole idea. And maybe there's truth to that, and I don't hate it. Again, I think a lot of what Jesus says specifically is a lot of love, right? But to deny that there is evil in the Bible written down is just like, it's laughable to me, because there clearly is. And to deny that there was ever an infant that was like a day old when the Noah's flood happened, because that would have been the case, right? There would have been for sure babies that were just being born that have never sinned, are completely pure.
I think that's what part of you notice within the Bible in general is like the definition of evil by degrees, right? Like, there are varying degrees of evil, but and I'm not justifying any of them, right? But at the same time, like, there's certain pitfalls of man, so to speak, that
I agree,
that we fall into, and that I think it can be perceived as understandable in some respects.
I think it's tropes. I think it's tropes in literature. It's motifs that are being repeated. It's man writing down his sometimes evil thoughts into book and saying, "Oh, this came from God." You've never talked to somebody like that. You go up to them and they're like, "Yeah, God spoke to me," and you're like, "Oh, sure, He did." Is it possible that even one of the books in the Bible was written by a guy like that? You know what I mean? Do you think about that ever? Like, you consider that, or maybe it wasn't written. Maybe they changed it later, and then they added it in a way that was not really, cohesive with what God wanted, or whatever.
Yeah, that's how I would describe the Book of Mormon and the Quran.
Yeah, I mean, and
Hey.
right, and because there's good in the Quran. I read through the entire Quran. I dated a Muslim girl for a long time. We used to have sex, and she would throw on her little hijab thing and pray on the ground to God right after we got done, because I wasn't a Muslim, and it was like, she was like, sorry, but I was reading through the Quran because I was considering it, and I mean, there's a lot of love in there, but there's also evil. Just the same way I can point out there's evil in the Old Testament, there's evil in the New Testament, even with Paul saying, for a man not to get married. Well, that goes right against what God says. God says you should leave your mother and father and go find your wife and cling to her, right? And then you go forth and reproduce and populate the world, or go forth and replenish the earth, I think is the technical verse. Like, why did Paul not do that? Why did Jesus not do that? Or maybe Jesus did, but maybe it's not written down, right? There's all kinds of things that you guys don't consider that I've had my whole life to think about, and and I'm building a mind map based on the shit, so I see it all the time. And I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like,
No. I don't think you're being rude. I'm just trying to see where you're coming from in terms of where you specifically define evil. And now, like, you brought up a lot of points that I could see as like, well, that could be problematic in certain instances, right? But
yeah,
in certain instances, I could see a necessity to, obviously, I agree with you. If it's a newborn child or a newborn baby, like somebody that's innocent or something like that, you cannot hold it to be guilty of anything necessarily.
God
But
tells us that. God actually says that in the Old
right,
Testament.
right. But I'm trying to explicitly extract from you a particular, I guess, excerpt that you believe is explicitly evil.
I mean, I would say, like, yeah, telling somebody to kill their son to prove their faith, when God said you don't have to prove your faith.
I wonder on that. I do wonder on that for sure. And
Yeah.
I do necessarily ask myself why that would be something that somebody would do in order to prove allegiance, right? In order to prove allegiance and to show God that you are willing to go that length to prove your allegiance. And I do wonder on that.
Have you
But
have you ever considered this idea? Maybe someone has shared about, because he was old, right? He was old in his years, and let's say if the story was different, it was a young man, it would be a completely different aspect. But him and his wife were old, so when God made a promise, uh, and he didn't think it was possible, because probably a lot of people around him are getting giving getting married and having children, right? And at a certain age, they stop, perhaps because of the wife. So when it actually happened, God's promise was fulfilled. So he showed how God's power can override man's understanding and of God's capabilities. So when that was proven, maybe they had this understanding of, wow, okay, God can give it to me anytime He wants. So maybe with that kind of level of understanding, he maybe had a different perspective. Well, he can give it to me anytime, and that means he can take it back anytime. So okay, maybe I should do it, right? And then God's just looking for that kind of individual to maybe start, and just this, I don't know.
But
It's just
why?
something to consider. I'm
It's the
thinking.
premise of it, right? It's the premise of it that why would God even make that request? I guess that confounds people, because I'm in agreement in some respects with bgallemore.
Yeah.
That is kind of like, I thought about that, right? Because it's like my dad, right? Like, what if God came to my dad and said, "Well, in order to prove your allegiance to me, you got to sacrifice your son." Well, like, I haven't done anything wrong, right? Like, I haven't done anything that warrants this. But at the same time, he, there were angels at the end of it all. Angels came down and prevented him from ultimately making the sacrifice. Now, I have to ask myself, was that all calculated? Was that all part of the plan originally? Was that like, where did that stand in the plan? Was it just like, oh shit, he's actually gonna do it? Like, well, let's pump the brakes here. Like, so we got to ask ourselves a couple of questions here, as like, I don't think he necessarily wanted the sacrifice at all, but he wanted him to go to a certain length for God, right? He wanted him to show that he was willing to make this sacrifice due to the request. But when it came down to it, that's where it got cut off. And that's where I have to ask myself, is it inherently evil what God asked? Well, no, because maybe he had a greater plan for this particular individual, but at the same time, it is kind of, it's something to definitely, as a person or human or whatever, kind of scratch your head at, like, well, why?
Well,
So
God, it says God doesn't change his mind. So did God change his mind there? Did God lie there? What happened? What happened to make the change from telling a guy that he needed to do it to saying, no, you don't need to do it anymore? I'd say, like, especially, and I'm not hating. Again, I think there probably is a God, but and it may be close to what the Hebrew God is, or the Greek God, or whatever, what do they call it? Ios, or like the Zeus figure, basically their father in heaven. Same with, like, I was mentioned last night, Thor and Odin are kind of seen that way. They're gods of fire and, like, alchemy, and there's a lot of chariots and those types of things. So I think, I don't know. I think it stretches. I mentioned it last night. It stretches from this whole Black Sea region. There was a religion just prior to the Greeks and the Hebrew people that was basically driving this whole idea of everything they were doing. Maybe it was Phoenician. I don't know. Maybe it was Babylonian. But you can see it. You can see it all over, especially if you start doing the type of research I am, where you'll see, like, words and stuff. And you're like, wait, that doesn't make sense. How's that? How do they claim that that's their word and it's here? It's used a million times over here.
but based off of just what we were talking about, so that, like, just to kind of keep it in context, right? Let's kind of keep it in context here. So he made a request, and I agree it's questionable
But that's not the only one. I mentioned two other ones too, and there's probably more that I'm not even thinking of.
But hang on a second. So
I feel like you're derailing. You're derailing by getting, like, so in the weeds on this one. You're, like, derailing the entire conversation of what we were originally on, which is it true or false in general? You're, like, trying to get in the weeds of, like, I said there was two other things too: the flood, and then also, like, Sodom and Gomorrah being just completely obliterated. I would say those two things. There was likely evil involved because small innocent people died. That anytime that happens, there's evil involved. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if you're God or not. That's evil involved. Maybe it was Satan and an angel coming down that did it, but I don't know. My point is that it's evil, and you can't just focus on the one instance that I did say first. You have to consider that there is evil.
I'm not trying to.
Okay.
I'm thinking about what you're saying about, and I'm considering about, and I've been, I think, charitable, I guess, about the fact that we're talking about innocent babies and stuff like that, and I see your point of view. I'm not discrediting you in any sense of the word. I'm just trying to see it from your point of view at the same time, and the best way that I can see it from your point of view, and within the context of the holy scriptures, is that, as I previously mentioned, if there's evil within a house, that you have to root it out, because obviously if a parent and a mother and a father believe that this is the way, and there's nothing else that can convince them otherwise, that they will raise their children similarly, that this is the way.
No, that's
That's the
so
only.
against God. No, there's the son shall not bear the iniquity of the father, neither shall the father bear the iniquity of the son. That's Ezekiel. That's such an easy verse to disprove everything you're saying. And again, you're the Christian, right? Like, you should know this.
I actually don't know that verse. Ezekiel what?
Ezekiel 18:20, and there's two other ones I can give you. And again, this is all stuff I save verses. I have all the Bible in my mind map, but Ezekiel 18:20, the son shall not bear the iniquity of the father, neither shall the father bear the iniquity of the son. Deuteronomy 24:16, the father shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for the fathers. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin. Jeremiah 31:29 through 30, the fathers have eaten a sour grape, and the children's teeth are set on edge. Everyone shall die for his own iniquity. And that is the king saying that. But the other two are God telling us.
I recall. Give me 1 second. I recall a verse regarding hang tight. I recall a verse, proverb. The Bible states that the wicked will be cut off from the land and the treacherous will be uprooted. This is emphasized in Proverbs 2:22, which highlights the consequences for those who engage in evil. And so, like, there's kind of, in some respects of the word, a contradiction.
No, there's not. You're reading the contradiction into it. What the problem is that you're trying to say, well, no, God will hold the kids accountable. No, it says 3 times in the Old Testament and the New Testament, by the way, that he doesn't hold us accountable for the sins of our fathers and our parents. And what will happen, though, and you're right, is that the wheat will be separated from the chaff. Jesus says that. That's separate. That is a whole separate thing than being held accountable for your parents' actions. And so that's what I'm saying. There's not really like hypocrisy in the philosophy. There's more like counter literature, you know.
So what would you say is your conclusion based on what you know versus on the?
It was written by man. It's written by man.
Okay, I wouldn't disagree with that at all, but because obviously that's how it's presented too.
That it's written by God is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's presented that it's
divinely inspired.
Inspired, sure.
And I wouldn't even say that necessarily. I kind of believe that maybe some of those men were divinely inspired and connected with the higher power, but just because they say it doesn't mean it's true, right? And anyone could have written those. I mean, we know they were fucking corrupt people. They were worshiping fucking. Huh.
What do you believe in?
I believe in God. I believe in love. I believe in this whole thing. Again, Jesus and all of his apostles. None of them, if they lived, which maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Doesn't matter. My point being is they wouldn't have walked around with these books. They would have known this information the same way I am right now. I'm quoting them at you, right? Like there is a lot that if you just study and you read it and you absorb it, not as this is the exact word of God. Instead, you keep it as like, okay, this is a general rule book to life. This is some of the knowledge that they had then, but not all of it. And you maintain that awareness throughout reading the Bible. And then after you finish the Bible a couple of times through, go find the extra books. Go read through the other stuff. See what the other stuff says. Because by the way, Jesus would have known all that stuff. And like the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha was like the original part of the Bible. I mean, it was in the Bible originally. It was they changed it over 1,500 years and finally removed it, but it was part of the Bible. And why did they remove? What is it, 13 books or whatever?
So I guess let's go back to your I guess I'm trying to think of the word verdict that the Bible, there's a lot of evil things within the Bible. um, upon what do you base this? Because ultimately, right, like one would believe that God Almighty is going to have the better judgment of things, right? So, upon what do you base that? What that whatever particular action is evil upon? So you're saying that because this verse says that the sons shall not be guilty of the sins of the father and so forth,
Will not be put to death.
Ezekiel
Yeah.
18:20, that you're basing your verdict that on this particular instance of judgment that God acted evil according to these texts. Is that the kind of
That's my
assessment that?
breakdown. Yeah. Yeah. Because
Okay.
I don't, if there's a God, he's not evil. And I mean, I've considered this. I think, deeply about it,
Well,
everything in my life.
I guess what when we describe evil, I guess we're kind of talking about like um, conceptual ideas, and I
Not
guess it's where
really.
you draw the line to where, in some respects, I think we are.
I mean, I don't think it's that conceptual though. We're all westernized. We're all raised in a
Right.
Judeo-Christian nation, if you will. We know the Ten Commandments. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we kind of know.
Sure.
So and I would say, yeah, maybe if you're like in Aboriginal in Australia or whatever,
Right.
you wouldn't have any fucking clue. But we know,
Right.
and so my basis I'm putting it on is the text, the what they say in their own text, and that's all
Yeah,
I'm doing,
but
and reading through a lens of love. You have to read through it with like a lens of love.
in I believe somewhere in Revelations. Look, I'm not your like greatest Bible site or whatever, but I believe in Revelations it says that even saints will die, you know, um at the apocalypse. The saints will end up perishing. I cannot recall the exact verse. I'll have to get back to you on that. But it acknowledges that there are going to be some innocent people that do die.
Right, but
And
that's different than what we're saying. Those three things I brought up are all things that God did to man, not man doing to man or Satan doing to man.
okay, that's fair. That's fair.
And by the way, it says Satan is the ruler of the air, right? Like, what does that mean? Well, he's controlling the planet. All this evil and sin and all that stuff and whatever. And I don't know if it's an actual entity, Satan, but there's evil. We know there's evil. If you do something good and you show love to somebody, you feel that. If you hurt somebody, you also know that you did bad. And
Right.
and that's across any culture. If you punch somebody in the face, you know you've just done bad. Doesn't matter the culture. After a certain age, once it's like probably not a child or something, you know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah,
and
the commandments will be written on the hearts of men.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying, that we didn't need a book to tell us every single thing, and the 613 laws and the 7 Noahide laws and the all the others. Like, we didn't need all that. All you needed was, like you said, it's written on the hearts of men. These guys wandered around. None of them had their scrolls. They kept their scrolls in a building. They didn't take them outside of there. That was it. If you were going to disciple to anyone, you had to have the shit memorized, and written on your heart. And I think that is the thing we're missing today. People are always, they got their Bible apps, and you got your AI, and no one's committing anything to memory. No one, there's no one's even trying to study beyond like their comfortable Bible. Really, like, I started exploring. I started questioning the Trinity when I was like, I don't know, 13 years old, and no one ever gave me a good answer, and I kept moving further and further away because I realized they were full of shit.
No, they're not.
And
There's really good reasons for believing in the Trinity by hundreds of years of Christian scholarship, and you're just ignorant if you think there's no reason for believing in the Trinity.
I'm ignorant. So how many books? How many books, Matthew, do you think have been written on people who reject rejection of the Trinity?
Hundreds.
Yeah, thousands, right? Like, so I'm the idiot because I hold the same view as all those thousands of people who wrote books on the same subject.
I
No, not
think that
because you
there's
hold the same view, but because you said there's no good reason for believing in the Trinity. You can disagree with it, but you have to admit there's been lots of people giving good reasons, even
No,
if you
there's not.
disagree with it.
No.
No,
Again, there's
there's
people.
no good arguments.
I don't think there's a good argument.
Okay,
I've got
then
you.
that's just false. That's just being
Bring one.
unaware of
Bring
the
one.
arguments.
Bring
I
one.
think
Bring one.
I'm
when
not
it
an
comes
expert.
to what you believe in, especially in a spiritual sense, that's something kind of more of a personal testimony that you can attest to,
Yeah, that's
something
part of
that
it.
you
But
can.
these are truth claims.
Right. So it's difficult for
Not
me.
really. I mean, where does it say? Where does it say Jesus is sitting? You guys are obfuscating. Where does it say Jesus sits in heaven? Matthew,
At the right hand of the Lord.
at the right hand of the Lord, on the to the right of the throne. He also in Revelation, and then also I think it's was it Corinthians, the other part. So and there's two. It's a two-part thing at the end. At the end of time, the Lamb takes the scroll from God and rules for 1,000 years on earth with his kingdom, and then returns the scroll at the end of his 1,000 years. Why would that occur? If the Lamb was God, why is there an exchange happening in heaven between like who's the king?
Wait, I think we're
So
getting our wires
you're
crossed.
talking. Yeah, you're talking about details of the arguments. I'm just saying that the argument exists and that there's good
I'm giving you the
scholarship on both
reasons.
sides.
I'm giving you the reasons why you're wrong right now because you didn't have one.
So
You're
I
trying to tell me I'm wrong.
acknowledge
Hey, Matthew, you're trying to tell me I'm wrong. You have zero
you are
evidence.
wrong.
I'm giving you counter evidence, and now you're trying to shut that down. I'm just trying to tell
No, I'm
you.
not trying to shut it down.
Well, okay, you kind of sounded like you were like.
What
And
what
my
are you how are you shutting it down? Sorry.
he was trying to say that I'm talking specifically about how, and that's not what he's trying. I'm saying no. I'm bringing evidence to the contrary of what he's saying, which is what debate is about. And I'm literally quoting what's happening in the Bible. The Lamb taking the scroll from God. He sits to the right of the throne. When Stephen dies, he looks up into the heavens and he sees the Lamb to the right, also seated to the right of the throne. There's tons. I could go on and on about how they're not the same. Jesus says, there's a Father in heaven who has sent me. He's greater than me. He says, I am one with the Father, and the Father is one with me, and you are one with me, and you are brothers and sisters to me. He's saying we're all one because we're all God, and we're all emerging consciousness from God. That's how
No,
we're
we're
created
not
in the image.
God. We are not God. There's a definite
No,
difference.
it's not. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying he's saying we're all parts of God, which is what the Bible says.
We
We're
are
all
not
like the
parts of
eyeballs of.
God.
Yes, we are. What the fuck are you talking about? Yes, we are. It says that legitimately in the Bible.
We are separate from
the
God.
Mysterium
We
does it.
relate
If you know
to
that, remember
God.
that old song? If we are the body, remember that old like, why his arms? That whole song. That why is that mentioned over and over in the New Testament and the Old Testament about the body of the of Christ or the body of the Lord or the songs of Solomon. The everything is written about the body, but it's really in reference to God.
Right. I'm saying we are his hands and feet, but we are not philosophically identical to God. That's paganism.
I never said that. You're making that claim.
Okay,
I
it
never
sounded
said
like
that.
you said that. Okay, then
No,
we agree.
I quoted the
I'm
scripture what
still
Christ
trying to
says.
figure
Christ says
out what
Christ.
the discussion is here.
Okay, you're just derailing. Can you let me talk? Don't do that.
I'm not.
So,
I'm not. I'm literally not. I'm asking
well,
what
okay,
it
maybe
is.
other people don't have that question. So my thing is, if you let me keep going, maybe it'll make
Sure.
sense. You guys keep doing this thing where it's like you're trying to
I'm not
derail my
doing
thought.
anything, brother. I'm not
Well,
doing
okay.
anything.
My point is there's multiple things I can point to in the Bible, including John 1:1, mistranslations, the ego I me, hoon, and the Aramaic translation with the Greek being wrong. And that can, if you like, that's like being intentionally misquoted from New Testament to Old Testament. You can also look at the idea of Jesus. Why does he have two different lineages in the Bible? In the Bible, he has two different lineages. That's what it's mentioning. I mean, they're going through some of the same people, and then it splits off, and then they don't go
We're
with the same
kind of
people, and then they
moving
converge.
around. Hang on a
No,
second.
well, no,
We're
I'm
kind of
saying that the reason why is because that has to deal with immaculate conception and all that stuff. It's because he was a man who was a rabbi who came to earth and probably was pushing some Jewish ideas. Then he wanted the Gentiles to convert and to love Yahweh, his God. And I think that's actually kind of a beautiful thing. I don't actually think there's anything evil about that at all. What became evil is what people did with what the story was, which now they've made it. He's this idol. He is God. He is a creator. No man can be God, by the way. No man can be God. And by the way, God says that. He says, I am one. He says 1,000 times in the Old Testament, I created the world alone.
right.
Why would he say that if Jesus was there in the beginning, like all these Christians? That's not what he's saying. Jesus is saying he's the Logos. He's the fulfillment of the Word, because the Word was always with God. And since he's born and he's from the order of Melchizedek, all of those prophets and messiahs and all those things, they were pushing that same idea, the Logos, the Word of God, which is actually a Greek idea. But anyway, my point being,
look, first of all, I want to say, look, I think you're doing a great job of proving of arguing your case and stuff like that. And I'm not intentionally trying to obfuscate anything. Matthew, do you have anything to say with regard to his refutation of the Trinity? Personally, I never
Yes.
viewed Jesus as quote unquote God, but more the way. But go ahead, Matthew.
Sure. I mean, he's brought up a bunch of different verses and
Yeah.
ways of reading those verses, and those are all well known. And there are people, and people talk about all those verses all the time. I'm looking at the bigger picture, saying that there are lots of ways of reading the Scripture that recognize the Trinity exists. Just read First John, that book. Look at John 1:1. So it's not true to say that there's no reason for believing in the Trinity. Also, Jesus did claim to be God. He told the Jews, before Abraham was, I am, which is a direct
right,
claim
that's the
to saying that he
misquotation.
is
That's
that
what I
I
said.
am. No, it's
That's
not.
the misquotation.
That's what he said.
And
Why? Then
you
why
also
did they
just
pick up
quoted John
stones?
1:1.
But hang on, let him
quick.
finish.
No, I want to say something before he gets too far. John 1:1, you just quoted at me. I literally just told you that anyway, go ahead.
Dude, just let him finish, man.
He's just covering the same ground, though. My point is, I've already covered this and proved how he's wrong, and he's
let him
covering
go
it.
down the line of thought, and then you can refute it.
Right. So there's probably 40 different verses we could talk about, and I don't think it's productive to go one by one to talk about them. And I'm not a biblical scholar that knows that type of stuff. I'm just saying the bigger picture is that I think that there are good reasons for believing that Jesus claimed to be God, and that he is that God is three persons and one being. Otherwise, how could you say God is love if God is just the Muslim Allah sitting up there by himself?
Because it says Jesus said he did not consider himself equal with God, so he came to earth. And he wanted to be a sacrifice, and that makes, you said you want to look at the big picture. Well, look at the big picture. How can God sacrifice himself? Why would that count? Why wouldn't it make more sense that the sacrifice comes from a pure lamb, which is what they tell us, a pure lamb, which is not God. A pure lamb is something that is brought up out of the land that has been unblemished, right? Like, these are the things. God can't be blemished, so that's irrelevant. Why would God sacrifice something for himself? No, what happened is somebody loved God so much that they sacrificed themselves to spread a message. That's what happened. And you're talking about a big picture. That's what the big picture most Christians should look at it as, is this wonderful dude probably, hopefully existed. And even if he didn't, the message is beautiful. It's all about love, right? I don't hate on that at all. What I hate on is how people like you come in and then you say, I'm not a scholar, and then you call me not a scholar, but I can quote everything at you. And I'm not trying to be rude, Matthew. It's just you can quote nothing, and I'm pointing to all these different ways that Jesus isn't God, and all you're going to do, it's called being stiff-necked. They reference this in the New Testament. This is being stiff-necked when you have zero proof. And Jesus says, sharpen. He likes debate. It's iron sharpening iron, right? That's what it says. So you should be doing this, and you should be learning and not being stiff-necked. And if you don't have a proper refutation, you need to consider that maybe I'm right. Not that you're not a scholar, and so I must still be wrong. No, you just don't have a reputation. And when I run into somebody who can prove me wrong, then I'll be wrong. But for now, I'm not.
Okay, so expose yourself to people who've studied this that might be able to prove you wrong. Have you done that?
I do.
What's your pastor say?
All the time. I was part of a church for a long time. I actually still am part of a local community church with 7 families. We go all the time, and they know exactly how I feel. I'd say Jesus isn't God very openly. They still respect me. I'm not the one preaching.
If you say Jesus is not God, then you are not a Christian. You should use a different name.
I do. I don't say I do not. I have said the guys in here heard me last night. I don't call myself Christian, and Jesus didn't call himself a Christian either. Jesus was a Jew.
What is Jesus then to you?
Jesus is the line from the order. Jesus is the line of the order of Melchizedek. He's the muse, the Greek muse that we're all told about, that spirit of creativity and love and inspiration and all those things, right? That's what he is.
I'm
He's
not
that spirit of.
asking what you've read. I'm asking what he is to you.
That's what he is to me. I'm answering that's not what I'm.
Okay.
I didn't read that.
Okay.
You're being like rude for nothing. I literally am just giving. I'm not reading this from you.
I'm
how
seriously not.
similar is
I'm
God
not.
to
I'm not.
Jesus,
I'm
right? It's
seriously
very
not
similar,
trying
right?
to be rude. I'm really just trying to understand.
I'm a musician. I'm a creative guy. Like I was telling them last night. I produced a TV show last year. I produced 2 albums. I'm writing another album right now. A book. I'm building AI and a mind map. I'm a farmer. I'm a dad. I have a lot of things I like to do. And by the way,
That's
I go to
cool.
church on Sunday, even though I'm not considered a Christian. And I meet up every Wednesday. Or Tuesday. Actually, tomorrow we're meeting, but. We meet up. I don't forsake my communion. I'm not a Christian, and I'm still following what the Bible says. So explain that to me. Am I wrong? Am
No,
I? I don't
I'm
think.
not judging you, brother. Like literally, I'm not. I'm just trying to see where you're coming from. Really, at the end of the day, like I'm not trying to straw man you or disrespect you. I'm just trying to see where you're coming from. That's really it.
It's literally love. I'm probably fucking autistic, and I got the love message at a real young age, and that's all I do. I show love to literally. I try to show love to every person that I know in my personal life, especially.
Okay.
And I
That's the
mean,
only
and that's
important thing.
yeah, and that's what we're supposed to do. And I even though I do like practice probably some form of Judaism or something along those lines. I don't believe what the Talmud says about Yeshu burning in excrement and semen, because where does it say in the Old Testament to be evil and think like that? It doesn't. It says to think with like the kind heart and be kind to your wife and kind to your family and kind to your friend. It talks about like not even like the Bible focuses on cool shit too. Like I think it's in Psalm 26. It says something along the lines of like, don't speak loud in the morning because your hard work could be like a blessing or a blessing to you, but a curse to your neighbor. Because if you're up at 6 a.m. in the morning and you're fucking working, like there's like a ton of amazing philosophy in there. Well, one of them I don't think that is in there is that people are burning in semen and excrement. I don't think they're covering that. That's man adding in more of his own philosophy. Instead,
Okay,
what it is.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, instead, what it is, Jesus is literally just the full encompassing love that God has like given us. And I don't know if he came as a man. He might, Paul says again, he did not meet him here. He did not meet him in the flesh. He said he was caught up into the third heaven. So in my opinion, I kind of believe more like what the Gnostic Jews or the Gnostic Christians believe, which is he was probably just a spiritual being in the pantheon. And he made a sacrifice that maybe we weren't aware of. And maybe he did come to earth. I don't know how it all happened. I wasn't there. All I know is man's fingerprints are all over it. So a lot of it's hard to believe. I just try to go with what I can prove and what the text tells me and those types of things, So I'm not adding all the extra shit onto it. Like the religion has done that to us. The Immaculate Conception and the Trinity and you could keep going. The elect with Calvinism and what is elect?
What's your problem with, I guess, Immaculate Conception?
I mean, it's just because it's never happened before and it's never happened since. And
there's a lot of things in the Bible that haven't happened before.
Right, and I doubt a lot of them. Right, yeah, I doubt a lot of them.
You doubt the miracles that Jesus had performed?
Maybe in some ways. I think a lot of them. So Jesus spoke in parables, which is a form of metaphor. So I think they're also.
Well, we're not talking about that. Obviously.
Well, no. Let me get into this real quick. So it's not. I'm going to answer your question right now, literally. So the reason I said that is because I think a lot of the psychological ailments and like the demons and the spirits that he was casting out was like weird, like schizophrenic moments or extreme anguish or something like this those are the things we're seeing being cast out and the being healed and blind and all this stuff. There was like certain medicaments and things that they had because he's an Essene and he knew how to heal people.
Right.
I think he was literally healing them, like with medicaments, and we know that he was because the Nardos that Mary, it's Nardos is all over the New Testament. Mary wipes it and breaks it and brushes her hair on his feet with it, and supposedly he goes up to anyway. That's the whole burning purple thing. If y'all have ever read about that, that's the goop stuff. that they wrote about in Medea. Basically, it's the idea that there was this drug that would put you down for 3 days and you would come back resurrected and like renewed. And they practiced it in the cult of Apollo. And it's funny because the people who applied the ointment onto people that caused the 3 day slumber, if you will, were called holy prostitutes or divine prostitutes. They were prostitutes of the cult of Apollo. They were like oracles, and so these oracles would dip the nardos on their in their vagina. They put it on their hair and all this stuff, and the men would have sex with them, and then they would go into this deep trance. And then there's an antidote that comes up after, and that's the antichrist idea. There's a Christ and an antichrist, and Amon Hillman gets into this. It was written about, and I'm not saying that's what's happening in the Bible, but that's where this history of these things, these terms come from. Christ was used as a term 1,000 years before Jesus Christ comes around.
What are you referencing right now? I think we're getting into the weeds. I'm not exactly sure what you're
Well, that was because you were saying, how do I believe? Well, I'm saying, I'm telling you, I don't know if Jesus is real, and I'm giving you the explanation of why he might not be. It's because we know.
I'm just trying. I guess what I'm asking is to like cite your resources, because I've never heard of anything about this nardos and this rubbing of ointment, and
because you haven't read the Bible. You got to read. I mean, you just have to. It's in there. Like, I'm not trying to be rude. Nardos is in the Bible.
No, I don't take it as you being rude. It's okay.
I mean, like I said, I'm kind of probably autistic.
I probably need to do more research. There's a lot of things that I do know about the Bible, but there's a lot of things that I don't know about the Bible, and I'm just trying to understand where you're coming from better. Matthew, do you have anything to, I guess, refute his assertion further that Jesus is God? Because personally, I don't have that belief. I have a certain understanding of that.
Listen to him. We're gonna go to heaven. We're gonna get to see the Father and all those. I believe that. And why not?
Why would anybody say that Jesus doesn't exist? Even secular scholars agree that Jesus existed.
Yeah, so you're doing the whole, that's like the no true Scotsman fallacy kind of thing, or like or by consensus or whatever. That's such it's a logical fallacy to do those types of things and be like, everyone agrees.
So
anytime you hear
upon what basis do you believe that Jesus exists then, I guess?
Upon what basis do I believe, or does Matthew? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you.
I mean, the one account that we can be for sure of is the Josephus account, and Josephus writing about him, but we're not even sure because it's not all the same name. And then there's another account that they think might be Jesus, but the father mentioned there is Pantera.
Well, I'm asking you
that's why I said I'm not sure on that one. That's what I said. Okay. I'm just giving you my what I can see in front of me as the options. That he maybe had a Roman soldier father named Pantera. Maybe he is the son of Joseph, because if he's not the Messiah ben David, the final Messiah, and there's a Messiah to come after him, maybe it's him in a reincarnated state or whatever. But what he died as, there was an idea in heaven called the two powers in heaven idea. And the second power was supposed to come back in multiple ways. And he comes back first as a Messiah ben Joseph, and then later as a Messiah ben David. This is all in the Old Testament. Jesus references this too. He references the line of Melchizedek in Revelation, or the order of Melchizedek, which is, Melchizedek is just the ruler of Jerusalem. He's the guy who it's basically a reincarnated spirit of the prophets. From Adam to Noah and Moses and Abraham and all the way down, all the way to Jesus. That's the whole idea.
So based on what you've read, that has allowed you to believe that, because it sounds like your hinge. One of the things is that, based off your language, is that you're even kind of timid to even admit his existence, right? So but upon what you've cited, that is how you acknowledge that he existed.
No, I think it's okay to not know whether he existed or not. It says even faith the size of a mustard seed, will be able to grow out of the hard rock or whatever. And I think that's kind of, and even, there's doubting Thomas, and there's plenty of times in the Bible where people are doubting, right, and have questions about the things. And I think God gave us a mind to investigate. And so that's what I'm doing. It's because I can't be certain of the things I've read. I want to investigate and find it. And if I can't find it, then I'll just go to my death being uncertain. But I'll still have belief, and I'll still have some amount of faith. And maybe I'm just going to be the lowest level of heaven with the least amount of the rubies in my crown, as the New Testament says. Maybe that's all it is, but I don't know. And maybe there's no heaven at all. Maybe it's just fucking black and death. I don't know. I mean, maybe we're all being lied to, being controlled in a prison planet type of situation. I don't know. But I don't like to think like that. I like to say that probably a God created us. I believe that. And that it didn't happen with the 6,000 years thing, but it also says, day in the life of man is worth 1,000 in the life of God. And or 1,000 years in the life of God, or something like that. Like, they're being metaphorical. They're saying, like, it could have been 1 billion years for all you know for the first day to take place, and 1 billion years for the second day in the eyes of God, because no man was there in those first 5.5 to 6 days, essentially, because man's created on the sixth. And that puts us basically at the Earth's age too, by the way. If you were to do like 1 billion years and use it metaphorically. So I think a lot of the Bible can be read that way, and it's more, you just read it philosophically. It's great message or whatever to carry to your family and to your community, to be like loving and kind and love your neighbor, and be sweet to your wife, and only the good men of the community should lead, and those types of things, right?
Yeah. A message that anybody can get behind, for sure.
Right. And what I don't agree with is how it's been carried out. I mean, that's the real problem I have, is there's absolutely in the past 2,000 years been manipulation to get all of the world to fall under this, which, if there's a God, I don't believe he wants. It says for us that, even me talking about this stuff, I feel guilty, because it says, to not cause someone to stumble. If they're not ready to hear these types of talks, like, I don't want to cause people to stumble and like completely reject God altogether because of what I'm saying. But at the same time, I have to openly question, and I want the pushback, and I want my iron to be sharpened. And that's the only way we're going to do it, is through debate like this.
Would you
I
say
think God
that
wants you to know, and wants you to be sure, and wants you to have assurance and trust in him. And I think that's possible. So I would encourage you to find your way to belief, to trust in God.
I do trust in God. I just don't trust that Jesus is God. If that makes sense.
No, I hear you.
And I mean, by the way, I still, I mean, like, I'm thankful for all this stuff I'm thankful for growing up in a Christian culture, and for everything that Jesus taught, and all the message, and him being a medium, and especially for us Gentiles, right? Because that's truly what it is. He was the savior for Gentiles.
Right.
Israel, the Jews don't need the same savior, according to them. And according to the Old Testament, because what happens in Revelation, regardless of whether they believe in Christ or not, 144,000 Jews are grafted back into the branch, the vine. And that 144,000, if you read into the number of what 144 is, well, look how many people were living in Israel at the time. There was not 144,000 people in all of Israel at that time, much less, or I should say, even I think Jerusalem or whatever. But my point being, it's 114, or the 144 is the wholeness of God. That number, it's a gematria number that represents like the fullness of God and everything. So it's basically saying all of the Jews are going to be coming back, regardless of their belief. And it says that in Revelation, the Christian New Testament. So I truly believe, yeah, he came for the Gentiles, because that was that's the psyop. The psyop to get us to all fall into the belief is, hey, you guys can be part of the chosen ones too. Just come believe in this guy. It's kind of like one of those, it's the cool club. Come, be part of that. And part of it is, it's a cool club, right? Like, but at the same time, it's an evil club. There's been all kinds of things done in the name of God that were, completely evil to get us to this point where we are right now. We're about to have a third temple built. There's about to be a false Messiah coming. I don't know if y'all are paying attention to all that, but that's literally happening.
It could be.
Oh,
I can't tell much about the future.
I'm paying attention to all the signs, quote unquote, like the Euphrates drying up and all these other markers that are being met within Revelations and stuff like that.
The number one,
whether it's
the number one you should look at is though the first time in 2,000 years they slaughtered a pure red heifer on the Temple Mount
right. I'm
to
familiar
consecrate
with that.
the ground. Yeah, not even a year ago this happened. So, and they're already building it. They're training right now. They're building the stones. They're training their young rabbis in the yeshiva and all that stuff. So it's going to be like it'll be soon. And there's people that think it's going to be, I mean, you're probably going to see the beginning of it within the next calendar year and the fulfillment of the kingdom on earth, if you will, but it's not going to be the kingdom the Christians are thinking of. It's going to be bad for most of us. And it's going to be here by 2030, which is that's the whole idea of the Agenda 2030. And if I mentioned this last night, but if you know anything about the Hebrew calendar goes to the year 2240, which is, 214 years from now. Well, by the year 2030, that'll be 210 years, and that 210 years is the same amount of time that the Jews wandered in the desert, if you add up all the time. So that puts their actual day, if you're not including that, down closer to us where we are now.
Didn't the Jews wander in the desert for 40 years in Exodus?
Yeah, there's a total though. There's like these rabbis have done all the math throughout all the time they're wandering. It's like time. They're using it like time counted for, like time served, like if you were getting a prison sentence or something.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
And that's kind of how they're viewing it. And I think, well, if you look at what's happening, that's clearly someone, I would say probably Orthodox Jews or Catholics are pushing this idea and setting up Jews to be the lackey or the fall guys. But it's probably Jews, I think, Chabad Lubavitch specifically, that are pushing this into the world stuff.
So they wouldn't be jihadists; they'd be called Shabbatists.
Yeah. Yes. That's exactly right. I mean, and if you look at, well, yeah, well, I mean, the reason I didn't laugh is because I've seen it so many times that there's so much wordplay that it wouldn't surprise me that jihad came from.
Maybe that's a thing already. Okay.
Oh yeah, for sure, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think there's wordplay everywhere. I could tell you, like, what is it? I think it's Venezuela. There's a name that, or there's a bunch. It happens over and over again, like the name Colombia and Venezuela and Nicaragua and Guatemala. There's all these names. They give them like these native names, like indigenous names, and then you look. You just search, you're like, is there a Hebrew word for this? And you're like, sure enough, there's a Hebrew word for basically every fucking one of them. Of all of these like places that are said to have been, named because of an indigenous person or maybe, I don't know, some idea, it ends up always being a Jewish person settling it and tying it to what they know, and the stuff they've read. And it's why Trump's son is part of Chabad Lubavitch. His daughter, or I said son-in-law, his daughter married into it. His father built the Chabad synagogue in New York City, Fred Trump. And that's not just coincidence. He went and kissed the Messiah, the Chabad Messiah's grave that died in 93 or 94 last year or a year and a half ago, I think. So, I mean, if you take all that into account, just that, you're like, damn, that looks damning, especially with what we're doing in Iran now. We went to basically war for Israel to go kill Iran, and there's a whole thing about the Strait of Hormuz in Talmudic and Zoharic prophecy that basically talks about the Strait of Hormuz is going to be cut off and trade won't be happening in the region. And it's like, oh yeah, that's basically what's happening right now. They're fulfilling prophecy.
Well, like, I mean, that's the ultimate like gaslight, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you do it on purpose, then other people will read into it and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, no, I believe this because it is prophesied." You know what I mean? But they're like,
and I always say this to Christians. I say, well, what's the last book in your Bible called? Revelation. Things are going to be revealed in the end. Yes, and no man knows the hour nor the day, but it says you're going to see signs and wonders. And you're also going to hear the words like safety and security, which we're hearing all the time, right? It says, rumors of wars.
What qualifies that? What qualifies as a sign or a wonder?
I mean, I would say the signs and wonders are the ones that they knew about from their oral traditions. So if you go back and you read what their Talmud is saying, what their Zohar is saying, they were already making these predictions. And the stories that you hear in the Bible aren't just talking about that time. They're also prophesying something. Modern Jews believe this. So everything that they read that happened before is going to happen again in some kind of similar way. And it'll look similar, but it'll be like metaphorical, you know. And I mentioned it last night. You guys can look it up. I don't know how many people were in here, but there's a Zohar day that was prophesied 600 years ago called 23 Elul 5761. It's a calendar day on the Hebrew calendar that matches up
9/11.
Yep, to 9/11, to the Gregorian calendar on 9/11, and the prophecy says something along the lines of the two towers or the two walls will fall, or I think maybe it says three, but anyway, but the thing is, you could say both of those things happen, and the Great Hall will fall, or the Great Palace will fall, which that would be the Pentagon. And you know, and did it actually fall? Did the Pentagon actually? No, but it was out of service for a while. And then also, you know, the World Trade Centers did fall, and they were surrounding the Solomon Bank, which that whole Zohar prophecy is about the Solomon Temple, which the bank that they had there, the one that fell, the third building, is that the Solomon Bank.
All right. Enough time ahead to like actually build these buildings to make the prophecy happen, right?
Well, yeah, they did. So whenever they're first being built, there's an article put out where one of the Jews writing the article references them as Joaz and Joachim, or Boaz and Joachim, which are the pillars that stand outside of Solomon's temple. And so that's the whole Zohar prophecy: is that temple will fall, and it says in Rome, in the great city of Rome, or something like that. And we are considered New Rome, Edom.
All right,
America is.
Nostradamus.
Yeah, I'm just saying. That's what it is. I'm not the one saying it. The rabbis I listen to, they're saying it.
Yeah, but you're the one that continues to regurgitate their nonsense.
Nah, let them cook.
Well, I agree. It's not. I agree. It's nonsense. I agree. It's nonsense.
You cover yourself. You cover yourself behind a veil, right? Where you're like, well, it's not me saying it,
bro.
It's them saying it.
Don't let him bring you down. You were cooking.
But you're the one saying it.
It wasn't.
I didn't hear it from them.
So what am I doing? Hey, what am I doing by telling you this? Can you extrapolate a little bit? What am I doing by informing people?
You're perpetrating nonsense.
No, I'm not. It's not
nonsense.
I've never go ahead and tell me all about it, man. Yeah, don't let this guy try to stop you from talking about it, I guess.
Yeah, so basically what's going to happen is we're going to be, the whole planet's going to be shut down. There's going to be a new world order implemented. They're going to probably do it with turning off the internet and maybe electricity for a couple days or a couple months even. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work. But when the lights come back on, everything's going to be different. And we're going to have to be on digital currency. It'll be some like companies like Walmart that are going to come forward and they're going to be like, we'll give free food to people, but they have to accept this new digital currency that we're using since the American dollars aren't working. And the American government's going to have to pay us back in reparations to cover our losses as a company, but we'll do it for the American people. It'll be something like that. Like that's what we're going to see. And like, people who are not prepared.
When do the computers go off?
I think it's happening in the next month and a half, but I don't know. I'm not certain about it. So there's a lot of signs. Trump just implemented the yearly Shabbat now, and he just said, what was the actual thing he said? He said, like, I highly encourage all Jewish people to observe this Shabbat, and this is the upcoming Saturday. This Saturday, Friday to Saturday.
Everyone, not just Jewish people.
Yeah, no, it's Jewish. He says Jewish.
No, I'm saying everyone. No.
What do you mean?
Everyone is encouraged to keep Shabbat, not just Jews.
No. So I used to think that too, but Jews, modern Jews, and there's people that point this stuff. It says that Gentiles were not supposed to worship on Shabbat.
Yeah. There's certain Jews that say that, but they're wrong, and you keep perpetrating their lies and acting like it's facts. Because some fucking Jews said it.
You're so angry, dude. You're fucking so angry.
Yeah, because dude, I heard you say demons. Dude, I heard you say it the other day. Dude, I heard you talking. Bro, I heard you talking. Dude, I heard you talking the other day.
No.
What did I say?
Literally yesterday or the other day before, I heard you talking shit. I kept silent. Not today.
What has he said that you have contention with, Zion? Like, be direct.
I don't know who this guy is.
He's at. Well, it's not me saying it.
No, bro, we don't have to stoop to this level.
You're fucking hype all over. You're hype, perpetrating it.
We don't have to stop and bring in Zion's drama. Can we go back to the topic, please?
Yeah, bro, angry. Shut the fuck up, Gatebreaker. You never say anything except complain, dude. Shut the fuck up.
Not
You're not even a mod, dude.
He's all the way
Hey,
down.
You're a fucking concave.
by the way, you just
you're all the
joined
way
in, like,
down.
the past
I'm
10
about to
minutes.
turn you down
were in
too.
the other server. You just joined, came in hot, ruined the convo, and
Oh, now you're
started
keeping
attacking
track
him.
of me?
But also,
Anyway,
Dude, you're like
people
a
do
crazy
use
ex-wife.
please.
Now
Hopefully
he's
a
keeping
mod can
track
stop
of where
him.
I'm at, dude. You're a fucking weirdo, dude.
Yo, if
Oh, you're
there's a
from the other
creator-
server. You were in the other server.
Wait,
You're a fucking
Zion.
loser, dude.
Zion, is there anything specific that you take issue to? Because obviously, making and
Literally everything he said. Oh, the powers are gonna get turned off in a month and a half. They destroyed Solomon's temple. This and that, bro. All of it, like literally all of it. It's all nonsense.
what's your
literally
argument,
every fucking
bro?
building.
But what if you're a cuck?
There's so many.
What if
There's
you're a
so
total
many
cuck,
Masonic
though? Who
buildings.
knows? Do you know if you're a cuck?
Probably,
You
and
can't.
that's fine. But you can express that too. It's fine. I don't care. But dude, literally,
like,
there's so
what's
many
your-
buildings that are.
what's
Hold on,
your
bro. Let
argu-
me finish my fucking sentence, dude. Can I finish? Thank you.
Sure.
Literally, like, there's so many buildings, dude. Just mute yourself. There's so many buildings that are created, right? That are fashioned after the ancient temples of Solomon, right? And not just Solomon, like any Roman pillar. Ironically, those are called Roman pillars, but they're not Roman. They're not inherently Roman. Solomon had pillars just like that, right?
Yeah.
And he's saying because you have a certain building that represents Solomon's building, right, in the most ambiguous way because it has pillars, somehow it's fulfilling a prophecy. How dumb do you sound?
I didn't say they fulfilled it. I said they're faking the fulfillment of the prophecy. You came in and you didn't hear anything. You absolute fucking dumbass. So anyway, now I'm gonna get back to it.
Dude.
No,
Yeah, I know you don't.
everyone-
I know, dude. I know that you don't believe in it. Yeah, you're perpetrating it. I get that, dude. That's
He's
not a
not
defense.
perpetrating shit. He's
I'm
not.
saying
He's not prophet. From all I'm listening, these are just cool ideas.
So it's on the Shabbat website, bro.
Can we?
It's on the Shabbat. It's on the Shabbat website.
Hey, Lion, do
National
better,
Jewish
bud.
Month.
Look at all this fucking negative energy you have. Focus on your
I love
driving,
it,
bud.
dude. I love it,
Hey,
bro.
we're
I'm
not
a
trying
mod
to hear
anymore,
you. We
so I
want to
can
hear
talk
BG.
shit. Fuck you.
No thanks. Go ahead, BG.
Yeah, Zion's really into God and stuff, so
He's offended, and I get it.
It's not even. This has nothing to do with God. It has
he's
nothing
really
to do
into
with
God.
God.
So
Hey,
he needs
guys
he needs you to
take
go
as long as you
know,
need
do
for us
things
to move
that
on.
involve curse words.
Having a Sabbath is
Okay.
a good idea. If I was God, I would probably make sure that you all have a day off as well.
Yeah, you're not God. Let us go back to the convo, please.
That's the topic. So that's the whole topic is about Shabbat or Sabbath. So isn't Sabbath
No,
having a
so
good
God said
idea, or
get
do you
off
guys
my
all want to
nuts.
work 7 days a week?
Hey, Eden,
not-
your little fake holy posturing is ineffective here. We were in the
Okay,
middle
now
of a
we're talking
convo.
about going
Lion
back to the
interrupted, and you're
conversation, and now
perpetuating it.
you're just
Go
acting
on
gay. Can you
mute. Let us
stop,
get back to the
Gatebreaker?
convo.
No, you
Gatebreaker,
go
just
on
go
mute.
on mute. We were talking
All
I
right,
know,
about
you
watch
go on
this.
mute.
Lion is muted on my
you're putting a
end. Since
stumbling
there's no
block. So just
mods,
be
I'm
quiet. Go
moderating
back
now.
to. I'm the second one.
Eden's
Lion
muted
and I
from
would like
my
you to be
end.
quiet.
I'm gonna
so
wait
be
until I
quiet.
hear these other guys
Gatebreaker, be
speak
quiet.
again.
Lots of people here have you on mute. Okay, so what about Sabbath? Having a day off. Do you guys not like that idea?
Yeah, but they don't like that idea for us. The law for celebrating Shabbat is having your head removed. Observing Shabbat.
Exactly. See, you continue to perpetrate these lies. He doesn't believe in them, yet he continues to perpetrate radical lies, dude. Why do you
I'm
do
saying that's what the people who are in control are saying, dude.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Who? That's what they're saying. Who?
Shabbat Lubavitch. I literally just said that. It's on their website, dude. All of this, everything I'm saying is on the website.
Yeah, right. But hold on, dude. Just to be clear, you keep hiding. You have this defense mechanism where you're like, well, it's not me. I don't believe in these things. They believe in it. And so when you talk about
there's
they,
beeping. Hey,
for
real quick.
something else
You got beeping,
bro.
You got beeping.
Like you
hold on.
lost the first attack, Zion, Lion, and then you want to go back to that same thing.
How?
Where you get to make like funny
attack?
voices. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, be more specific, dude. You're being ambiguous like him, dude. I'm trying to be very specific.
Your funny voice?
I'm not being ambiguous at all. I give you a date. So, and my thing is, dude, 23 Elul 5761. It's not just some random day. It lines up with the exact day of 9/11/2001, and it hits the two pillars and the Solomon Temple, if you will.
Here we go, dude.
It
he doesn't
happens in the
believe
great.
in it, but he's steeped in it.
No, I'm saying you can see the parallel if you have a fucking brain. There's a metaphor they're trying to make you see.
So there is a parallel. So there is prophecies being fulfilled.
No, they're not being fulfilled. And it actually says in the Bible, anyone who does that is going against God. So,
anyways, can I finish? Because every time I go to talk, bro, it's like people get irate.
You came in irate, dude.
Yeah,
okay,
no
dude,
shit.
but listen, not during your speech, bro. Right? I waited till you were done,
You
and then
fucking
I
exactly
respond.
fucking when he was fucking talking.
Yeah,
exactly.
I was in the middle of literally.
He's doing exactly what I'm talking about. I go to talk, and people irately talk through me. Now I'll let you finish. I'll let you finish, right? Then I go to speak. I can't get a word out. Can I get a word out? Can I speak?
No, that's what you're fucking doing to him. That's actually what's fucking
you're like
happening.
another gate breaker. We have one gate breaker.
Just
We
let
don't
him
need two.
speak, bro. Just go ahead, man. What do you
We
gotta
have one
say?
gate breaker. We don't need two snacks.
Yeah, just say what you got to say, dude. Just say what you got to
You're
say.
gonna tone
Just fucking talk.
police. You're gonna you're interrupting the conversation. Yeah,
All
just
right,
because I'm challenging him.
dude.
Let
Go
this
on.
man.
All right.
Don't interrupt him.
Okay, so keeps perpetrating this radical ideology from a specific sect of Jews that don't represent
Strongman.
all of Judaism. He talks about how they're trying to forcefully fulfill prophecy, right? Not that they're actually fulfilling prophecy. I get that. They're forcefully fulfilling prophecy. That's not a defense,
faking,
bro. Yeah, they're faking it. So they're forcing the prophecies. How is that a defense? Go ahead.
My whole point is that there's a new world. Yes, exactly. The whole psyop is that we're all being told to believe in these religions that are really just leading us down the road of being like a prison planet. That's what's happening. And so, yes, that it does matter if they're faking it. And I should be telling people, hey, just so you know, they were already predicting this shit. So whenever they say, no, it wasn't us on 9/11, that we had nothing to do with it, even though there's already overwhelming evidence just in the secular part of like the investigation, then you start including the actual prophecy and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, they fucking did it. That's my point. So that does matter. And they're going to do it again.
Yeah, do you understand where I'm coming from, though?
Yeah, but it doesn't make any sense. It just sounds like you're like, don't talk about it. Censor yourself. Are you Jewish?
No, I'm not Jewish.
Yeah,
but
he's
the
trying
way
to gatekeep you.
The way that you're talking about it, right? You're acting like it's all the Jews, right? And then you're acting like
I'm not.
these
I'm never saying that.
prophecies
I've even said I'm not anti-Semitic, and no one should be anti-Semitic.
I'm
and we
not
should
saying
love
you're
each other.
anti-Semitic, dude. I'm not saying that.
Well,
but you're
then
like hyped. You're like doomsday prepping or something like, or not doomsday prepping, like a doomsday mongering, fear mongering.
Well, I mean, okay, so if you consider just in the last 6 years, we saw the planet get shut down for basically a fake fucking cold, right? Just a cold, Do you think that was weird? That's the first time in human history that ever happened. So yeah, things are happening that have never happened before, and they're going to continue to happen. We're being told right now, as of this week, that aliens exist, right? By the President of the United States. Well, what else does that tie into? That ties into Project Bluebeam, which if you look at where Project Bluebeam came from, it came from Jewish people who believed in the Enochian prophecies and aliens coming back from the Book of Enoch that were really the Messiah, and they're going to be the ones that lead the world to, the golden age and kingdom of heaven on earth.
You don't know what you're talking. See, you're doing it again, dude. You got it's like, bro. There's certain Christian sects, right? Hold on, bro. There's like certain Christian sects, like
Christians don't have sex left.
Like Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, the Western Baptist Church, right? Those Christian sects don't represent all of Christianity, dude. And just because you have certain doomsday mongers or whatever, and they're trying to fulfill prophecy, even amongst Christian sects, doesn't mean that they represent all of Christianity. Yes, dude, there's radical Jewish sects out there, right? Part of some Sanhedrin. Doesn't mean that they represent all of Judaism, nor does it mean that they have as much power as you're trying to say that they're going to accomplish these things and lock down the world and shut down the power, dude. That's fear mongering, dude. I guarantee we're going to be here in a month from now, still using the internet, still having power.
I'm just talking out your ass. I hope you're right. No, I even said I'm not certain, but I think it's about a month and a half from now. I think we're about to have to, and it may not be an internet thing. It's going to be some type of like 9/11 event. That's what I'm talking about. That is going to happen. I know that sounds insane, but just watch.
No, it
just
doesn't
wait.
sound
we'll see.
insane. It doesn't sound insane.
I predict
You're right.
that it
Like,
will
we
not
are
happen. I predict that 2 months from now, everything will go about the same as today.
I hope you're right. I really do. And that's what my true hope is. I don't want my family to be thrust into some fucking chaotic world. I got a lot of kids and a family. I got my wife, and I'm good on that. My point is that people who are in control, regardless of whether it's all of them or not, all of them benefit. So if the third temple is built by just a small sect, which it is just a small sect of Jews, if the third temple is built, well, that fulfills prophecy for all Jews. It also fulfills prophecy for all Muslims and all Christians.
No, dude, not at all, bro. See, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, it
dude.
does. Yeah,
No, it doesn't.
dude.
No, it doesn't.
What are your thoughts, Lion?
Yeah. Just stop saying no and give me your actual idea.
Well,
So
wouldn't that
again, dude, you think that Jews somehow represent certain Jewish sects represent. Now you're saying even Christians and Muslims. No, they don't, bro. They can force God's hand. They can try to construct the third temple, right? Or perpetrate this doomsday stuff onto us, like the seven seals in the book of Revelation. Most Christians, as far as I know, don't subscribe to the construction of the third temple, dude. They don't believe it's biblical. Now I'm saying there are certain Christians that are trying to force God to construct the third temple because they think it's gonna bring back the Messiah. I'm not denying that, dude. But that's not all Christianity or all Muslims or all Jews, bro.
Well, I don't think he's saying that, but I think he's saying we should be. He's probably trying to let. Because remember, before COVID happened, if we were all in Discord and someone was on here saying, "You guys, the government's going to shut it down," we'd probably say, "You're probably crazy." But we've seen time and time again, the government is definitely ramping up their control, and it seems like they want to push to the RFID chip in the future. So who knows how fast they're going to push it?
Yeah, that's 100% where we're going. We're going to that, and we're paying for every single thing forevermore. There's not going to be like, giving between people. It'll be like digitally monitored shit. You're going to pay taxes on everything. Nothing is truly yours. That's the whole WEF Agenda 2030 idea, the Klaus Schwab thing, which again, if you think about the year 2240, which is when the Hebrew calendar is supposed to end, if you subtract 210 years, which they were traveling in the desert for, that puts you at the year 2030. Which is why they're making a big deal about the year 2030, and it's not just the WEF, which is part of the UN. It's the whole planet is doing it. The Build Back Better shit and all that. Everyone's doing it. It's because these leaders are all being puppeted. That's where they're all going to kiss the fucking Western Wall. So as much as you don't think it matters, Zion, it doesn't matter what the fuck you think, because the presidents of every country and kings and all these shit, they're going to kiss the ring, and they're gonna thrust their countries into whatever the fuck that Israel says. Whatever they say, and whatever punishment is going to come for us. And by the way, in the end times, and all of the end time scriptures, but across all of the Abrahamic prophecies, half of the world's supposed to die. That seems pretty fucked up, and sounds like you would probably want to know about that if it was coming. So you're not one of them that dies. So that's why I say it. So you can come in hot and fucking white knight or whatever for Christianity, but it's just dumb. Like you're not thinking. You're coming in like fucking meathead instead of like considering what happens if they're right and this prophecy they're pushing. It comes to look to be true. Even if it's not true. It's not nothing new to me.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not nothing. Okay.
Yeah, Lion's all aware of this for sure. But yeah, maybe just the introduction.
He didn't know 23 Elul. He didn't know 23 Elul. He didn't know any of that shit. He came in here and had no fucking clue what I was talking about.
Bro, do you know about the Temple Institute?
Yes, I do.
How they got the priests ready for the third temple? How they got the bricks?
Yeah, and they sacrificed a red heifer. They sacrificed a red heifer July 1st last year.
Gosh, it's not the first time, dude. It was a mock sacrifice. I get it, bro.
It is the first time.
I'm not denying that they're trying to build the third temple. What I'm denying is that you think that they're gonna fucking shut off the power. That they're gonna I don't know where you're getting all this shit from.
I'll get more specific with it. I said last night. I think it's gonna happen in Texas.
You know what's funny? You know what? I brought that up. I don't know if he said it. For no fucking reason I was thinking that myself. Sorry.
Well, yeah, it's going to happen in Texas, I think, because that's where the red heifer came from. And it was this farmer who's a Christian Zionist who wants the third temple to be built, and he sent it from Texas. And, well, that's the sacrifice, right? Well, so it's either meaning that we're pure enough as a state that we're going to be left untouched, or we are like the metaphorical sacrifice. They're not doing that on accident. They chose the state for a reason. It's either for good or for bad. I'm not 100% certain.
Yeah, dude, I'm aware of that. They're genetically engineered red heifers, perfectly red heifers.
It's not genetically engineered. I've got the same ones. They're not genetically engineered.
Yes, they are, dude. Yes, they are. They genetically engineered them. They literally genetically engineered them so that they would be
curtains.
They would be perfectly red, with no blemishes. No, that's because that's what the Torah commands. A blemishless heifer with no spots. And the only way that they could accomplish that after hundreds of years of trying to breed them, and they all have spots, was to go into their genome.
I raise cattle, dude. I
Okay.
raise cattle. You're literally talking out of your ass. I raise cattle.
No,
so
dude,
I don't
I'm
know.
not, dude. That's what I'm trying to tell you, bro. I've been following this for a very long time, dude. I'm not a noob, dude. I'm Torah observant for the most part, dude.
Yeah, aren't they able
Torah,
to maybe aren't they able to maybe use like what they do with women today? They try to find the most viable embryo cells and then match them with their you know how
It's
they do it
easy.
with women. What if they're doing that with the cows as well?
But the guy who raised the cattle, his name's I think Byron Stinson. I'm not even looking at it. He raised these cattle for like 15 years trying to get the right one. In 5 years we got that. So my thing is it's doable. You just have to buy the right cattle up front genetically and then breed them together and you get one.
Yeah, but they weren't able to do that successfully though. So they
regardless
they forced God's hand,
no,
dude.
Zion.
They forced God's
Zion.
hand and they genetically engineered a red heifer. Dude.
Does that matter,
bro?
Does it matter
it
though?
does. Yes, it does, because genetic engineering is considered an abomination, but they're willing to look past that because they're so eager to construct the third temple, dude.
Either way, the point still remains that they got a red heifer and they've already sacrificed it. Right? That's the point. So your whole point is completely moot. It literally does not matter.
Dude, it was a mock sacrifice. It's not the first time they sacrificed.
According to whom? According to whom? They followed all
the Temple
Levitical
Institute.
laws.
The Temple Institute, the ones actually doing the sacrifice, bro.
Right. And did you read what they said? So first they told Israel that it was fake, and then afterwards they said, "Well, this could be the real one." They said that. I have an article about it.
It could be. It wasn't. It had the potential to be, but it wasn't.
So my point is because they followed all Levitical laws.
Bro. Like, the reason I brought this up is to show you that I'm very aware. Right? I'm not an idiot. I'm not a meathead just coming in here not knowing what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about, dude. At the end of the day,
you came in hot at me. You came in hot at me, and I basically you're saying you agree with me on all this shit now.
Because you're a fucking idiot, dude, perpetrating lies.
You came here with attacks.
So we've been hearing about. We've been hearing about the dark winter for fucking 3 years now since COVID. Oh, this winter it's gonna be the dark winter. They're gonna cut off the power. You're the fucking idiot still perpetrating it, even though it's years later they still haven't cut the power.
No, see, I mentioned it. I actually
I didn't say that. I didn't talk about that. Yeah. So and Biden and by the way, that was Biden that said that.
Balls, Lion.
Yeah, and I'm not even trying to pick a fight. I just think you came in hot for no reason because it sounds like half of the shit you agree with me on. You just don't like that I'm talking about it. I don't get that. You had to find out about it somehow, so it's like literal gatekeeping. Like you weren't given this information by God. You went and got it or heard it from somewhere or read it from somewhere, right? So that's all I'm doing here is spreading the same thing that you fucking found out. So like you just don't. You're not thinking. You're like that's the meathead side of you.
No, you're just projecting bullshit, bro.
No,
I'm simply challenging. I'm simply challenging you, dude. Right? Because
now you're being nicer because I'm calling your ass out.
No, you're fear mongering, which I'm not here to fear monger. I'm not here telling people that they're going to cut the power off and that the Jews are taking over the world and fucking whatever the fuck you're on, dude. What?
I mean, you're. I made him go into that part.
He said none of that, by the way. All of that, you're projecting everything onto me.
But you're not the one fear mongering. He is. He was in here the other night. I was listening to him for like over an hour, dude.
That's why it really seems like gatekeeping.
Bro, he's got the sauce tonight.
Now Gatebreaker can chime in to really gatekeep. Lovely. I'm gonna go walk to the store.
BG Allen's got the sauce. Let him cook. Just not.
Yeah, you never have the sauce, dude.
It's his night. Let him have it.
The only sauce you get is in your. Never mind.
Yeah, can you imagine? Because right now there's no one allowed in the temple at the Dome of the Rock except Muslims. So there's a lot of Jews and Christians that want to go in there. So it seems like, do you think they'll ever do that?
Yeah, they're going to blow it up. They're going to blow up the Dome of the Rock. So what we're going to see first is Damascus. So I think the betrayal, we will betray Israel, which you're already kind of seeing hints of it right now. Yeah, last night, Netanyahu said for the first time ever, Israel's cutting off all American aid. I don't know if anyone saw that. So there's going to be a betrayal from the West to Israel. This is the start of that. So basically, it's Trump's going to be offended, and he already was. He talked about today that they're cutting us off, basically. And there's going to be something that's going to happen that they will be able to say, you have now betrayed Israel. Now your country is going to be held liable by God, and something's going to happen to us. And that's kind of so what's happening right now in Syria, they're going to go, Damascus is going to be leveled. This is according to the Bible, by the way. So I'm just quoting what the Bible says. This is Damascus will be laid to waste. Basically, whatever was sitting on where the temple was, which is currently the Dome of the Rock, is going to be destroyed. It'll be removed, and the new temple will be set down from heaven. Right? That's what it says. New Testament. I'm not trying to quote shit at y'all. I'm just letting y'all know, like, this is being played out through the scriptures. This was planned 2,000 years ago, whenever they were first passing these messages along. So, and they maybe didn't know how it was going to look. I think it's only really in the last 100 years that they've really pieced together the exact prophecy they want to play out. But they've had an idea for a long time.
What verse are you talking about in the New Testament, dude?
About Damascus falling?
No, the temple verse that you read.
That the temple will be set down. The third temple will be set down from God.
Yeah, what verse are you talking about?
Here we go. I'm pulling it up right now.
Sounds like you believe it.
What? That the third? That what? What do I believe?
That this shit's gonna happen.
No, I don't believe. I think it's gonna happen fake. I don't think it was gonna ever happen at all.
No,
it was not supposed to happen.
The thing is, bro, I believe the prophecies that are in the scripture. I do believe those.
That's why you're angry at me, because I'm saying it's all fake. You're angry because I'm saying it's all fake and it goes against your worldview. And instead you're saying, no, dude, it's real. It's real. They're not going to do it. You're perpetrating.
That's not why I'm angry, dude. I'm angry because the other day you were talking about this. I didn't say shit, dude.
I was asked to speak. I was listening, by the way. I was listening tonight. I did not say a word for over an hour. And multiple people asked me to start speaking, and I did. And you came in and now have bogarted everything.
Yeah, he's not a mod, by the way, so don't feel like you have to oblige to what he says.
No, I'm not. I'm just trying to be nice, and if we're having a debate,
they destroyed. Right, and they destroyed that one temple that represented the Solomon's temple.
That's where this is.
They represent the Solomon's temple, right? And it's fulfilling prophecy. But I don't believe it. I don't believe it. But yeah, you're saying it like it's all gonna happen, dude. That's why.
Because they've already shown us they're doing this. They're already doing it. Like I mentioned, the 23 Elul 5761 matching up exactly on the calendar. Think about what is the mathematical probability of them being able to predict that exact day and that thing happening 600 years earlier. How much of a mathematical probability or the statistical odds? What are the chances of that?
Let's see. What's the prediction? Where do we get the prediction from?
The Zohar, 23 Elul 5761, the falling of the two walls or the two towers. That's the whole idea of the attack on 9/11. It lines up. That's a day on their Hebrew calendar that is equivalent to the day of the Gregorian calendar, September 11th, 2001.
That sounds not believable. That I'm going to call bullshit on.
I mean, look it up. Look it up, brother.
No, I'm just going to call bullshit on it and be doubtful.
23. Okay, I mean, it's on the Chabad Lubavitch website. It's in the Zohar. It's block 42. Yeah.
It's predicted.
Was it on their website before 2001, or is it a post-diction?
Yeah, and it could be post. I'm not saying it's not post. I see you guys are projecting that onto me. It could very likely be post. My point is that they've attached it. Doesn't matter if it's true or not. They've attached it to something, so they're pushing the idea that this prophecy is being fulfilled. So what's the next prophecy? That's what I started doing logically. Okay, well, what's the next prophecy you think they think is going to be fulfilled? Oh, well, that one came true. What's the next one? You keep going down the line. And it's like, oh, they're checking their boxes. That's what I'm saying. And I know you guys don't believe that, but that's literally what's fucking happening.
But I thought you were just, have you gone, so you're saying that it wasn't predicted then, if it wasn't foretold in the prophecies that the Twin Towers would collapse from thousands of years in advance?
They were trying to predict it. Not that they got it right. Now what has happened, they've said, oh, that day is coming up that he wrote about. We need to make something happen on that day. And maybe it was 100 years before 9/11. I don't know. Maybe it's 20 years before 9/11. Who knows how long it was when they started planning it. I think it was around the 1960s, though, for sure. And you start seeing all of these things take place and to the lead up, and obviously like the pre-programming and the Simpsons having the destruction, all these shows people have shown. There's like 30 shows that predicted the falling of the towers, which maybe isn't a big deal, but there's a reason for it. It's because and those same people, if you look into it, they're all Jewish like directors and creators of these TV shows and movies, and it's because they all know the scripture. They're being taught it in yeshiva. We are not allowed to go.
So what do you think the next prediction is?
The next prediction is going to be us betraying Israel and then the immediate destruction of Jerusalem and Damascus.
Okay.
And it won't be the full city. It won't be the full city. I think it's going to be the old quarter of Jerusalem, which is going to be where basically the Temple Mount is going to be at. And they're going to be like, oh, it got hit. It got hit. And it's really going to be like our missiles or Israeli missiles that hit it. And then they're going to be like, oh, well, I guess we can build the third temple now. That's what's going to happen.
My frustration is because you're mixing Jewish lore, right? Like in the Zohar and stuff, like rabbinical stuff. You're mixing it with scripture, holy scripture.
No, they consider it scripture,
And-
bro. So Zohar
but the
is
thing
scripture
is-
to Jews.
Bro, I get that, bro. But we're talking about there's Messianic Jews, right? There's Jews that deny Jesus Christ. There's Jews
Right.
that are like part of the Hasids, the Ashkenazi, Sephardic, dude. They don't all agree homogeneously like you're trying to make it seem, and they don't
I
all
know.
appeal to this stuff that you're talking about. Nor do Christians.
Okay, what is
right?
your point?
So
You've said this like
my
five
point
times.
my point is that there are prophecies that are to be fulfilled that will come to pass regarding the destruction of Israel, right?
According to who?
The Jews cannot actually force God's hand. They can't actually accomplish that. Only God through his will
I
accomplish.
agree, which is why it's going to be a
But
false
you don't. But you're not.
fulfillment
But
of
you're not.
prophecy.
But you're not a believer. You're not even a Christian. You said that you think
I
religion
said
is
I believe in
retarded. The other
God,
day.
dude. I don't believe Jesus.
Yeah, but
is,
the other
is-
day when you were talking about it, you said that you think organized religion or whatever is retarded. That you
It
believe
is.
in God, but you're not a Christian, right? And
I'm
you think
not.
that we're all
That's true.
right. So this is a problem. You're mixing, right?
So
The
you said you read
Zohar.
Torah. You
You're
said you read
mixing.
Torah. Hey, Zion. No. You said you read Torah. Can I not do with what you just defined? Could that not also be me? That explanation?
Be what?
Torah observant.
No.
Yes,
No.
because I believe in God. I don't believe Jesus is the Son of God, or Jesus is God. I believe he's like the Son of God, or line of Melchizedek. That's that same thing. There's no
dude, it's
difference.
not. Honestly, I'm a right at this point, dude. I'm a horrible representation or ambassador of the Torah or Jesus Christ. But at the end of the day, dude, I'm not perfect. Jesus Christ is the ultimate example that we should follow, not any man.
I agree.
But I just want to say that no, dude, you can't mix Zohar with Torah, bro. Zohar with the Holy Scriptures, dude.
Do you know
That's
what the
you're
Zohar
doing.
is?
Yeah, it's part of it's not in the Talmud, but it's part of the Jewish collection with the Mishnah, the Kabbalah, the Zohar. It's Jewish mysticism, dude.
So Zohar is the book for Kabbalah.
Yeah, it's Jewish mysticism.
Right. So in Zohar, it's just a reference. It's like a guide. It's basically, hey, there's a day in here. This day is referencing this upcoming prophecy. That's what it is. So it is using the Tanakh and the Torah to be able to basically point to upcoming prophecies. That's what they're doing. So yes, they use it, and they use it a lot.
Yeah, it's safe to say there's going to be people who actually are in that belief system and are wise to astronomy and the calendar. So a lot of them are very in tune with numerology, and if they were going to do certain things and acts, it would be on certain days. I suppose they're into serious numerology. That's just my understanding, whether it's true or not.
So as a dummy like me, I'm a dummy. So I'm just listening to you guys. It's very interesting. So as a dummy like me, like what should we do? Like, can we not like debate all day long? We'll disagree, but or argue or whatever. But like, what should we do? Like, or
That's what I was getting into.
can
That's
we
what I was
do
getting
anything?
into. Yeah, that's what I was getting into. Whenever Zion came in, I was literally talking about that. I was talking about what I'm doing and what I think is coming and what people should do to prepare. And I'm not saying start going out and freaking out or whatever. All I'm saying is have some extra water on hand, have some extra food on hand. If you have land, have that prepared, plant a garden, get some animals, whatever you can do. It's like, the victory gardens in World War II. That's all I'm basically saying. Basically, victory garden mindset. That's what we need to all be having right now.
Yeah. Use my coupon, patriot.com, dude. Yeah, dude, I've been hearing it for fucking 10 years, dude. You and every
What are you
fucking
talking about?
doomsday prepper on YouTube.
I'm not a grifter. I have nothing to sell. I don't have a YouTube
I
channel.
know that,
I have
bro, but I'm
nothing.
saying, like, dude, you're the only difference between you and them is that you're not actually making money off of it. You're just saying the world's gonna come to an end. They're gonna shut off the power. We're all gonna die, dude.
So do you think it's possible that a guy like me, okay, so, and I'm not just, so, I mean, you guys have, only a few people in here have seen my mind map. It's massive. It's the biggest in the world. I'm not trying to be braggadocious, but I'm one of the most researched people that you'll probably ever meet. And does it make sense that I would show up in rooms like this and have conversations like this? And if I'm doing all this for free and I started doing it for free, why would I care about the money? So what I'm truly doing it for is knowledge and research. And Christ says, iron sharpens iron, right? Like that's what I've said multiple times. The debate I value because sometimes I get some wisdom from it. And I'll put that into my knowledge database that I have that I'm turning into AI, and I want it to be given away for free to the world. And I have no intention on making money from anyone or persuading someone to believe like me.
Yeah, it seems like he has good intentions because he's not making any money. You can always argue that if someone's making money and trying to sell
that wasn't what I was trying to say, bro. I'm not saying that he's trying to make money. I use that as an example.
But he has good intentions though, right? If he's absolutely not making any money off it and he's just trying to spread the good word, he's trying to help people. So that's commendable.
Yeah, and that's literally all I do. And I'm not trying to be, I'm so perfect. I'm not that. I fucked up. I've been married multiple times and divorced, and I probably could have paid more attention to those women. And there's all kinds of things I could have done different in my life. I could have not done drugs at an early age, whatever. But I've also I did good things, and I'm continuing to try to do good things because I want to go down this path that we are told that, right? Like Christ is this example of love and light and all this. Yeah, so I try to follow that idea. I'm not a Christian. I don't call myself a Christian.
See how humble he is.
Oh my God, dude! Cut it out, dude.
No, I'm just saying, like his intentions are
he's
good.
Mother Teresa, dude. Come on, dude. Shut the fuck up. Dude.
Just assuming that what he's saying is correct, where like I relate to him, okay, and like a big thing in life is like having purpose, and like as men, I'm sure a lot of people will relate to me is like we've lost like a purpose, like. I'm having a midlife crisis right now. I'll admit to it. And so he's like at least trying to spread the word and do a good thing and he's not making any money off of it or doing anything. He's just saying like, I want the world to be better and I want people to be okay. And I'm trying to prepare them for something. You could say it's fear mongering or whatever, but he has good intentions. In my opinion.
Yeah, and I want to add to that, like I'm not trying to even come across as holier than thou. I'm not trying to be this Mother Teresa thing. I'm just trying to point out that there's a lot of research I've done, and ultimately there has to be like there's always they always say that saying there's always a bigger fish. Well, that's not true once you get to the top. And I'm not saying I'm the very top, but I know I'm somewhere amongst the top as far as people who've researched this stuff. And I happen to show up in rooms like this occasionally. I came in last night for the first time in like 6 months, and some of these guys know me. And tonight I'm back, and I probably won't be back again for a while because sometimes I do that. I just go back into my research. But I like to pop out and talk, and then I get guys like you who just like attack me and say I'm doing one thing that I'm not, and all I'm trying to do is make sure that we all are in one accord as we're supposed to be. And also, I'm not trying to get my table flipped by Jesus, right? Like, I'm not trying to make money off of spreading the good word, off of spreading truth and love and light. So, because Jesus flipped those temples, and that's grifting. That's what you would say a modern grifter, a social media influencer, or all that. I'm not any of those things. I don't. All I do is create stuff, and if people like it, they accept it, and if they don't, they don't. And I come in here and try to
Was there any further
better.
poisoning of the well that we needed? Does
This is my
get out of
favorite
their
thing
system
is
right now?
real recognizes real, and I can kind of like pick up on if someone is genuine or not, and I don't, my spidey senses aren't going off that he has good intentions. Like I said, like I pop in and pop out. I might be gone for 6 months, might come back in, hear what people are saying about it. And he's just genuinely trying to help people, and we shouldn't attack him for that. Like if
fuck, dude?
Just given the benefit of the doubt that he's not making money off this shit.
Dude, stop acting like he's fucking Mother Teresa incarnate, dude. Shut the fuck up.
I'm not white knighting.
He's in here bullshitting like everybody else comes in here and bullshits. It's about fucking
like
prophecy,
one
dude.
day
Shut the fuck
he was
up.
here one day before, and he's here another day.
He's in here doing what everybody else does.
You're not an authority on this fucking
you
scripture,
guys are
dude.
well within your rights to act like total assholes.
I'm just saying, dude. He's in here doing what everybody else does. Now he's fucking Mother Teresa, dude. Shut the fuck up.
Obviously,
he
I
could do
can't
whattever the
stop
fuck
you
he wants, dude. You don't
from
own
me
this
acting
shit.
like an ass.
You don't get to decide who.
I'm not
talks
saying
about
that,
scripture
dude.
or not.
Shut the fuck up,
You
dude.
are.
I can't engage him. I can't challenge him.
That's not engaging or challenging.
I'm not suppressing him. I'm not stopping him, dude.
Bro, no
Fuck
one
you
has
talking
no
about?
one has
I need to hire
words sweet enough for you to look within for a little bit and change your mind, okay? Do whatever the fuck you want. It's your business, bud. Can we move on from lying, please?
You're the one. It's funny. You're the one actually trying to stop the conversation from even happening, dude. You're the one that's actually trying to suppress the conversation.
From lying, please?
I don't mind the guy, dude. We can talk. You're the one trying to stop the convo.
I think you've effectively like stopped him from speaking. So that's been a real.
No, I'm good. I just don't want to. I just don't want to talk over.
You guys are just You guys are just talking shit.
Yeah,
that's
like
what you wanted to do. You wanted to interrupt
like
my question.
what is your argument?
So he was responding to me, Lion, and then you want to jump in and then not freak out.
And you're still bitching.
like
you're
you
still
didn't.
bitching.
Yeah, let's go back to the topic.
Yeah, let's go back to the
Are you done
topic.
talking?
How about
There's
that?
a huge problem. We see the war, right?
Yeah,
We
dude,
see
because
Jerusalem.
you're doing nothing except you're doing
Why
what
the fuck are
Concaver
people
does every
interrupting
time.
me?
We already have one Concaver, bro. We don't need two.
Ladies and
Shut the
gentlemen,
fuck up,
religion
you
won't
idiot.
save you. Conquering whatever's driving
Yeah, we have
line
war
right now to
going on,
act like
guys.
this, that's what will save you.
I
Well,
don't,
I don't know if you guys heard
Lion,
about
go
this,
pray.
right?
Go
Picking
pray
some
somewhere,
fucking
dude. I'm
religion.
gonna
You're
pray
literally
for
doing
you,
what
okay?
Concaver
Obviously,
does
you got
every day.
demons.
Do you
Yeah, let's
realize
go
that,
back to
dude?
the topic.
I'm gonna pray
You
for you.
guys, can
Okay.
everybody just halt their mics for a moment, and can we try to maybe get back
I'm glad
on?
there's a mod.
Can we get back on something, a topic, something interesting?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, we
Again,
can.
I'm not trying to talk over anyone. I was air traffic controller for 10 years, so I just mute my mic when I hear it go. But I think everyone has good points. I mean, I don't think anyone's technically completely wrong. I think, an illegal, if you're going through a midlife crisis, dude, just remember that we're all men of honor. If you hold to that, your midlife crisis goes away. I think that's the true thing that we don't talk about as men.
Okay.
If you're honorable in society and you do good things to each other, and I think you don't have anything to worry about. Just be the best version of yourself. I just wanted to say that because he mentioned having a midlife crisis, which I went through recently too. So
Yeah, thank you. If we want to change topics, can you please go into more on that? Because that would benefit my life more than all this arguing back and forth. Can you please talk about that more? Because I'm going through it right now. So, and it seems like you already went through it. So, can you help me out, like, or give me words of advice or whatever? And like,
yeah, I mean, I think 2016. Well, I got shipped off to Korea. I was in the military for 10 years. I got shipped off to Korea, and my current wife, I was with her at the time, and they split us up. And I went over there and I cheated on her, and we split up after about a year after that. We tried to stay together, and then I married some Korean girl over there, and we didn't work out. And we came over. I mean, we did over there, but then we came over here and we didn't work out. And she went and took my kids back to Korea. And as that was happening, my father died of a drug overdose, and I'd already lost my brother to an
damn.
overdose.
All right,
And,
I already feel better. That's horrible,
Yeah.
bro. I'm so sorry. Like you already named like 10 things that are like worse than me.
So I've had a rough,
I'm so
I've had a
sorry
rough
for you,
life.
but go ahead. Go ahead.
Don't. I don't need sorry. I'm blessed. I'm actually blessed. I have a perfect life right now. I mean, if I died tomorrow, I'd be happy.
That's what I want to hear about. I want to hear about that. But I was just saying, like, wow. But go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, my dad he passed, and that was in 2016, and then my ex came back, and then she left one more time, and then I just started spiraling, and I started drinking, and I was smoking weed and doing coke and all this stuff, and I got kicked out of the Air Force for my job, and I was given an honorable discharge somehow. Probably because I said, please, I messed up one time in the military in 10 years. Please don't give me a dishonorable. And I think they showed mercy just because I asked. And I always remember that, like, the closed mouths don't get fed idea from the Bible. And, I went further, and I was like, I got deeper into addiction, and then I started making music, and then I climbed out of it. Once COVID kind of hit, I was like, I'm getting the fuck away from society. I can just feel the walls closing in on me. So I went and moved out to a farm. We bought land and cattle and chickens in 2021, early 2021. And I've been here since, and we've had 3 children. I make good money now. I mean, I work on my brain every day. I get to stay home with my kids. So, but yeah, that's it. Things get better, and I think if you just keep moving and like plugging away, things get better. And I had a midlife crisis. I say midlife crisis, but it was like a 30-year-old crisis where I was like, because I was already kind of suicidal, and I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna die, dude. I'm gonna like die like soon. I'm like already halfway through my life. You know that feeling, you know. And if you're an intelligent person, you start having those thoughts. You're like, fuck, it's like it's going fast in my life, you know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of I'm 36 now. I'm not like a spring chicken anymore. You know, I feel my age. I'm sick right now. Like I'm fucked up. Like I'm like, damn, dude, I could die from this. You know, I'm there's people that died in their 30s for sure in like the early 1900s and from same types of sicknesses. And there's things could always be worse. And that's kind of what my whole point of saying all that was is no matter what you're going through, man, there's someone that always has it worse. And just the fact that you have breath in your lungs and you have a ability to think and have some what is that? What is the word I'm trying to look? Agency in your life. God gives us agency to do things, and the fact that you have that ability, man, that's the blessing. That is the one blessing, because one day you won't have that.
The present, yeah.
That is what I do tell myself. I always say, as bad as it is, I'm not homeless. I'm not in jail, and it's like first world problems. Like, like I consider myself whatever, but like 70% of the world, I'm doing better than them. So it's like, I always try and say it could be worse, and I try and be grateful for what I have, and to say things are going to be okay, and things will get better, and this is just a phase that I'm going through in my life, and just like I don't.
Illegal. Do you think your belief system is part of the reason, or maybe a factor?
No, I think my belief system is what's keeping me going. That I haven't unalived myself yet. My
Well,
belief
also
system
illegal. I want to say this real fast, and I'll let you keep going. Anxiety is a tool for intelligent people. It is a curse for unintelligent people. So if you consider yourself intelligent, anytime you get anxious, let the anxiety take over. Just let it flow through. Let it settle inside, and then figure out what you got to do about that anxiety. I know that sounds weird, but we like try to push it away as a culture and society. You know, like go exercise, it'll get rid of the anxiety. No, if you're anxious about something, it's because some shit's going on, and you need to like meditate on it. You need to think on it.
Yeah, it's like a good thing. Like, and I've seen some videos about like ADHD or whatever, like paralyzing, where you just can't do things, and or like what's it called when you're paralyzed, like HDHD paralyzed. That's like kind of what I'm going through right now. And yeah, I do have anxiety, and then I do understand what you're saying about if you're having anxiety and you're intelligent, it will motivate you to overcome it. And then I guess this is like the whole video game we're playing is like to get over it.
Yeah,
Work
exactly.
through work through it, right?
Right, and well, that's what the Bible is teaching you too. And I mean, I think it's in the Old Testament, but it says like, or maybe it might be New Testament too. They basically says, you know, do the birds in the sky worry about the seeds for tomorrow? You know, like it's such a poignant thing because you're like, well, they don't have anxiety about starving tomorrow. They're just do what's in front of them, take the next step. You know, if there's anxiety, you solve it by doing and action. You know.
Yeah,
And,
I have a sign in my bedroom that says "Life is a journey, enjoy every moment." So I try not to live in the future and live in fear and anxiety. Like enjoy right now. Like my life is pretty good if I just dwell on the moment. But it's all about my fear about the future that like has me all hung up and feeling some type of way. But yeah, I always focus every time I go in the bathroom and pee. There's a little thing that says "Life is a journey, enjoy every moment," and I try and just think about that and just day by day. You know.
yeah, I think that's a good way to be. And I mean, again, I know we all have probably theological differences, but ultimately, most of us believe in some type of a creator. You're placed here to accomplish something. We're not placed here to just die. You know, what do they call it in the Bible? Toiling. Like that's what we would be doing. He doesn't want us to toil. He doesn't want us to work ourselves to death forever. There has to be enjoyment and you know, celebration and all those things, love. And if you don't have them, start seeking those things. Those are the things that God says to seek out anyway, right? Like he says to seek out, you know, well, I can't remember the exact verse, but yeah, it's all those things. And I think that's what we're supposed to do. And if you seek out the other stuff, which I'm doing a lot of research. Like I have to balance my I take in a lot of negative every day. I really do, because I'm learning all kinds of things that I'm like, damn, dude, they're closing the walls in on us. I can sense it. But then I go, I'll spend time with my kids. I'll spend time with my wife, and I'll go outside and look at the tall ass trees and the, like whatever. Like I'm just, I'm like, okay, reset, meditate a little, think about whatever's going on, and then attack again, and I'm not trying to scare anyone into thinking something's going to happen, but it sure looks like it. And I should be speaking up if I think there's writing on the wall. And it's not me saying, look at all these predictions I've made. I'm just some random guy who's coming in right now that, and I did make certain predictions that have come true, but it's only not because I'm like divinely inspired. It's because I'm watching, I'm reading, I'm literally connecting every single thing in the universe together. That's what my goal is. Like, I know that sounds.
My biggest goal. Sorry to cut you off. My biggest goal is to just stay out of my feelings, because it's my feelings that fuck everything up. If I would just stay out of my feelings, and like you said, you just go outside and just sit on my porch in my porch swing and look at the clouds and the grass and the birds and everything, and and like I have a house. I'm not homeless. I'm not in jail. Like, just focusing on all the things. Like, focus on all the things that are good, and I just try and focus on that and just stay out of my feelings.
Eden, what
do
were
you
you
have a
going to
woman?
say? Something that was on a topic? Eden?
Thank you, Gio. Thank you.
Please.
But yeah, it's important, because imagine, like I said earlier, imagine before COVID took place, if you had a friend come by and say, "I think something big's gonna happen. Why don't you just stockpile some money, stockpile some TP, stockpile some," right? And had we probably taken heed, and we probably would have been in a good position, and grateful for him or her who gave us the heads up or the inspiration. So it doesn't hurt to always, one of my favorite, and I'll just finish up here. Thank you, Gio. One of my favorite financial advisors, her first, she has like rules of money. And I think the second one is do what's right for you before you do what's right for your money. So if you don't have life insurance or 6 months emergency set aside in cash or whatnot,
I mean, yeah,
then
it's good to be prepared. Like, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand, but like, I didn't have to go out during COVID and buy like 20 rolls of toilet paper or whatever. I didn't do that. I mean, maybe it would have been, but it didn't turn out that way, because I still got toilet paper. Like, I'm still all good. So
Well, I think another thing too we don't address as men, and I don't know where you stand on this, but I always tell guys. So I did go to school. I was going to be a therapist. I exited just before that, but I love psychology, and I love trying to help people's way to think. And the one thing I would tell every guy, and I'm not trying to even get personal with you specifically illegal, but if you don't have a woman in your life, or just someone you love, like, but I would say a woman specifically for men, and for women, men, then you will feel like you have a lot less purpose. I feel like, because I in those periods of my life when I didn't have someone, I felt worse, and then when I'm together with this person after I get in a relationship, you feel better. That's just how it goes. And I'm not saying you strive after that, but that whole idea of like, if you just improve yourself, the best, what does they say, the best way to eat an elephant's a day at a time. It's kind of that same idea.
How
Like,
do you eat elephant? One bite at a
yeah.
time.
Yeah, right. That's what, one bite at a time. Yeah. And I think that whole idea is true. There's something to it. So if you get up every day and just do something that improves you, eventually you're going to attract somebody that's like, damn, that guy's like kind of a badass. Like, he doesn't really care what the world thinks. He's just doing the thing that he thinks is the right thing, or good thing, or
for sure,
I don't know, just efficient thing. And I think women respect that, and men respect women who respect that.
Yeah, I was with a awesome woman for like 8 years, like the best woman that I could possibly ask for, and then now I won't go into details, but she ghosted me. She disappeared, but not that I did anything wrong, and because she ghosted me, she didn't even tell me if I did anything wrong. She just disappeared. But I think it was kind of meant to be, because I needed to like work on myself. So it is what
Yeah.
it is,
Yeah.
I had a
And the
great.
woman,
Yeah, go
you're
ahead.
meant to be with, the woman you're meant to be with, if that's a thing, won't leave you, right? Like, that's the whole idea. So the thing is, to not dwell on the ones that leave because they weren't ever meant for you anyway, because they were going to leave, and dwell on the ones that are to come, and not that you're searching for them, just know they will come, and that's why you're like the bird flying in the sky. You're not looking for seeds for tomorrow. You're just going to improve what you can today, and there's going to be seeds on the ground for you tomorrow. That's how it works,
Yeah, because when I found her, I wasn't really even looking for her. I was actually in the worst place of my life when she came into my life, and we were together 20 years ago, and then 20 years later, we got back together, and then we got together. And I wasn't even looking for her, but she came into my life, on some Facebook shit. We started talking, and I was in a halfway house and didn't have a car. I didn't have a house or nothing. And she loved me, and then we were together for 8 years. And then, I'm sorry, what? Go ahead.
Yay.
I don't know, man. Is there a topic we're on? Or hey, Eden, you guys were talking about the prophecies.
Thank you, Gia.
before?
Okay, fuck you then.
No, it's not about fuck you, bro. This is a live stream. We're here to talk about topics. I understand you want to talk about your life, and I hear you, but this is a live stream where we focus on talking about topics.
Okay, but
It's not really like a
talking
therapy
about
session.
my personal life would maybe help other people, like the way you went on a whole thing about your life, helped me and other people, and I thought talking about my life would maybe help other people or inspire other people or what they're going through. So, anyways, I was talking about my life, and then this motherfucker just wants to say, "Hey, what are we talking about? Let's talk about something else." Fine, go ahead. I don't care. I don't care. I don't take it personally. It's fine. It's not about me. I just think sharing our personal experiences can help other people with what they're going through, whether they're just listening or talking or not. But go ahead.
It's probably a good lesson for all men. For if you want to have someone, give her a good reason to stick around. Don't be in a bad position in life. Get yourself in a good position in life, and make sure that she has lots of reasons to be attached to you. So attached that she'll never want to get let go. But okay, back to the topic. So yeah, so it's probably a good idea because there's been many times in the past where people store up or maybe put goods aside. What do you guys think, though? Isn't it a good idea to prepare for a government some sort of? We've already seen what COVID did. Don't you think it's logical that they would probably shut it down in the
We've
future?
already said it's better to be, need it, not have it, than have it, not need it. So yeah, you should prepare. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
Well, and I think if you go by what the Bible says what 7 years of stores max is what you get, what you should have for your own household. So beyond that, it's just hoarding. And I think for me, like I don't have 7 years worth of food, but I probably have 2 years worth of food just in like dry goods and stuff. And then we have cows and stuff and chickens, and so we'd be able to be fine. And that I wanted to do that because I realized during COVID, I said, "Oh, this is the first time in my life I've ever seen every grocery store be like shut down or missing items or whatever the thing was. Like everything was affected." And I realized I'm like, I don't want to place my reliance on society anymore. I want to place my reliance on God in my own hands and my own work. And so that's why I left society.
It doesn't even say the whole 7 years thing. Actually, Jesus actually says, "Worry about each day, because each day has its own troubles. Don't even worry about tomorrow."
But in the
And
7
he
years
uses the
is in the
birds as
case.
an example. Yeah, it's with Joseph, but that was a specific case. He was given a specific vision over Egypt.
What was it for?
Doesn't
The
mean
vision.
that
The vision is for famine.
the famine that was going to come upon Egypt because of a specific judgment, right? So God gave Joseph a vision, right?
Yeah,
I
but
agree.
that doesn't mean that we all have to now doomsday prep 7 years of food, dude. That's what you were saying.
I'm not. No, I'm saying that's the max you should do if you're planning to be like a hoarder, and I'm not. That's my whole point. I was saying that.
What I think is a big problem is I agree with both of you guys. What I think is a big problem is that we don't have like community anymore. Like we might be inside our homes watching Netflix all day, and we don't even know our neighbors or who lives next to us or whatever. Like if we were a community and we all take care of each other, that's kind of like what I like about my neighborhood is all my neighbors, I'm cool with them. Some are 70, some are in their 20s, they're young, some are not, but we all like look out for each other. when we can or whatever. But I think that, like, the big problem is like community. So you don't have to have a 7-year cupboard or pantry full of dried canned food if everybody is like working together and shit goes down. We look out for each other, and so I think we need to bring community back. That's if I was running for president, I'd be like, let's bring community back. Go
Well,
ahead.
let's say, how about this though? Rather than because a lot of people, they just waste, and they're not really efficient with their, maybe because they're taking things for granted, they're taking life for granted because they've become so comfortable, and we've been conditioned to consume and reconsume.
Right.
So what's happened is, if some people, if let's say if only a small 1% of society was smart enough to push save up, while everybody was just brain in a state of not even caring, then everyone's gonna go, oh,